them ahead. Yeah, I know. But, I mean, just about everything that, can go wrong, kind of one of those things right now for the Padres. And, that's the bad news. The good news is, the last time they lost 5 in a row, they came right back, won 7 out of 9. And, I feel like that can very easily happen, and hopefully it'll start tonight.
Yeah, I mean, as you start to look at the last, 5 games, there's two things that stand out to me. They haven't hit with runners in scoring position, which hadn't really been a thing.
That was the thing last night.
And the other thing that stands out to me is they didn't play clean baseball in any of the 5 games. As low as those runs, low as the run totals were in those games, they didn't play clean baseball. They had some errors in a couple of those games. They certainly had a base running or 2 in every one of those games.
Right.
And, when you start the season and you say, this team probably doesn't have a big margin for error, and then you go out and you have those, and then you lose by 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah.
That's going to make a difference. Now, obviously, if you're getting, 3 or 4 hits with runners in scoring position, maybe you can absorb those mistakes, right? But if you're not, you gotta be perfect.
Yeah, and 1 for 14, man, that's hard to overcome.
It's going to be really hard to overcome, especially when you and then when you look at it from the standpoint that they've lost by 1 run, except for one of those games. I think they lost by 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's a difference maker, and it's not the reason why they necessarily lost, but it certainly took away opportunities, at least the mistakes did, to have that you give yourself to possibly win those games. That could possibly change the way those games ended. Now, we don't know. You can't guarantee none of that, but the more, if you've done that in 5 straight games, made those type of mistakes, and you've lost by 1 run or 2 runs in those same games, you can make the conclusion that those are costly. And then obviously when you're hitting with runners in scoring position, it's a different ball game. When the Padres had gone out and gotten 3, 4, 5 hits with runners in scoring position, they can have some of those kind of mess ups, if you will. But if you're not, you know what it is. You gotta be perfect.
Yeah, and we've talked about it all year. This team has less room for error than some of the previous squads. The base running thing is driving everyone out there crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, because I do not want to all of a sudden stop being aggressive. I just don't think that. First of all, it's not even fun baseball to watch. And I think being aggressive on the base pass more times than not helps you. But we're in a streak right now where it seems to be hurting every time, And Fernando gets, nabbed off second base. Again, he's trying to get to third with 1 out. I understand it. But, Profar's up there, and you'd like to think he could drive him in. Now, I'm going to say in the 5th inning, when Jake got that bloop down the third base line, to me it was aggressive base running by Fernando to get into third, and the ball hit him, and that's allowed him to score the run. So, you're going to be critical of him getting picked off. Then don't forget that his aggressiveness helped tie the game as well later on. So I think you've got to keep doing what you're doing and just kind of hope that it starts turning around. But I know everybody wants, doesn't ever want to see another guy thrown out on the base pass. So
yeah, Toddy's the second aggression was probably the worst of all of the base running mistakes, right? Because he had on the double he hit, he actually looked like he talked himself out of going to stretching that to 3 because of the same things we were talking about. Like, okay, we've made some mistakes. Let me shut this down, because he kind of caught himself as he went around third. And then to turn around and a few pitches later be picked off at second.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tough one there. But you're right. The same aggression that got him picked off there was the same aggression that helped tie the game when he got stretched that to third and got hit in the back and then ran home.
That's right.
It's all the same thing.
It is.
You just have to it just right now in the streak they've lost 5 games, all these things stand out a little bit more. They're magnified.
Yeah, I know it, because people don't want to remember when it works out. Right now, it seems like it's not working out. The other thing that I think a lot of people were in, I was pleasantly enjoyed it last night. But they lost the game, so a lot of people are saying, why are we bunting all of a sudden?
Of course.
Because, Profar bunts. Well, guess what? That led to 2 runs that tied the game. And then Merrill bunts in the 8th inning. And again, if it wasn't for the play by your guy at short, that ball bounces into center field easily, and the Padres tie the game again. Look, Mike Schilt saw them get runners at first and second with nobody out in the 4th inning and hit 3 straight pop-ups.
Exactly.
So the 5th inning, they get the first 2 on. He doesn't want to see that again. So I totally get it. It's a part of the game. Your team has been scuffling. Put some pressure on the defense and put some pressure on their staff. And, I don't think you can be second-guessing that kind of stuff. I think it's all part of baseball, and I liked it, even though they lost. So
the bottom line is it worked, right? I mean,
it did.
He gave the guys, hey, I'm gonna let you guys do this. I'm gonna let you guys get these runs in first and second. No, I'm gonna let you guys do this. As you said, 3 straight pop-ups. So then he took it into his own hands. All right, you guys are gonna bunt these guys over.
That's it.
Right? Ends up working. I mean, that is you let your team do what they show you they can do. Right? He gave them an opportunity. And I guess what? If in the 4th those guys would have got hits, probably not bunting later on that next inning, right?
Yeah.
He probably would have let them continue to swing away, but they got to the point where, and then you have to add into the previous 4 games where they didn't do anything with runners in scoring position. So why not get a guy as close to home as you possibly can where maybe you don't need a hit to get him in at that point. You just need a fly ball ground out. You know what I'm saying?
No, I thought it was.
That's just baseball.
I thought it was fine strategy, and I even give a tip of the cap to Jurickson. This is a guy who's leading the league in hitting, or right there with a rise. He's got the top, everything in baseball, and he's willing to sacrifice himself there.
Yes.
I got to be honest with you. I can think of a bunch of current major leaguers that would have been pretty ticked off about being given a bunt sign there. Yep. And would have just, kind of half-assed it and then tried to swing the bat. So I give Profar a lot of credit for that. The last thing in the game last night, at least for me, was the analytics of baseball making me angry. And that is the fact that Randy Vasquez was just absolutely on fire. He was setting him up and knocking him down. I think he had 16 out of 17 there, gave up the early runs, but, man, he was really in a groove. But when Corbin Carroll came up for the 4th time with 2 outs and the bases empty in the 7th inning, he took him out of the ball game. And I'm pretty sure that's mostly analytics saying, don't let a guy face somebody a 4th time. Now, Corbin Carroll could have hit a home run off Vasquez had he stayed in the game. I certainly get that. And going to Jeremiah Estrada is not necessarily a bad move either. But in this case, it didn't work out. So I'm not holding Mike Schilt accountable. I'm not trying to second guess. But there are times when I would love to just see managers, just use what they're seeing. And I just thought Vasquez was going to cruise through the rest of that 7th inning, and I didn't think that they need to make a move there. So, and I said it before the run scored, by the way.
He has proof.
I have proof. I said it to my guy, Sammy Levitt. I said I wouldn't take him out here. So that's just my own thought. Obviously it's a second guess because, Corbin Carroll hits a line drive off the bottom of the foul pole, which is just another trick of the gods.
How far does it have to go up before it's a home run? I was wondering.
Over the fence level.
Okay, so
yeah, it definitely hit below.
There's
the
a black
fence.
line. There's a black line on the pole that
I
it
gotta
has
look
to
for
go
that.
over.
I gotta
Yeah,
look for
it
that.
actually it hit below the pole, so that was
I'm
clearly
gonna disagree with you on this one.
That's fine.
I think Corbin Carroll was 2 for 3 off of.
Yes, he was
already, and I think the other one was like a bunt. I think that he ended up getting out of third at bat. So I didn't have a problem with them taking him out. Estrada's been one of the best bullpen arms in the league. So, he didn't get the job done. That's really what that boiled down to, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Randy Vasquez, though, speaking of which, another stellar
really
job for the Padres.
I mean,
this is the second start filling in for Joe Musgrove.
And
You can't ask for more.
for
He
more.
kept. He
He
gave up the
gave
three
in the first
two,
two, settled in,
kept it close long enough for the Padres to get back in it. And then he handed it off to his bullpen.
6 and 2/3 in. I don't know that you could have asked for anything more from him. Another good job for him.
No question. I mean, look, the Padres starting pitching. I mean, we touched on it. The last 5 games, every one of them have been a quality start. I mean, so these guys are all doing fantastic. Now it'll be Michael King's turn tonight to try and, stop this losing streak. Brandon Pfaadt, the young right-hander for Arizona, the last time they faced him in Phoenix, they beat him 13-1. That doesn't guarantee anything for tonight, but hopefully they'll get it done. And one last thing, I know we got to get going here because we're going to have Kyle Higashioka. But when Manny came out there in the 8th inning, Mike Schultz's timing on that could not have been better.
It was dramatic.
It was
dramatic,
wasn't it? I mean, Manny slowly appears from the dugout. I'm like, whoa, what's this?
I mean, Higashioka was almost in the box.
I know. We'll have to ask him about that a little bit. But, man, when Manny came out, that was like electric. And, too bad it didn't work out. But good touch there by Mike Schilt on that one. All right, 4-3. The Diamondbacks got the game last night. We'll see if the Padres can't snap back this evening. Kyle Higashioka is our Friday guest. It's coming right up as Gwynn and Chris is underway on 97.3 The Fan.
6-0 San Diego.
I think we're back. We are. 2:20 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. It is Friar Friday. And we have our guest. Went deep in last night's game. The knuckleball extraordinaire catcher, Kyle Higashioka, joins us. Kyle, how are you today, brother?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going well. Where do we start here? Let's start where this team is right now. You guys lost 5 straight. I mean, what is the mindset for a ball club? You know, you've lost 5 straight, and they've been close games. They could have gone either way in each of the 5. They haven't gone our way, so to speak. So, I mean, how do you approach each day as you guys come in to get ready for the next game?
I mean, you know, the encouraging thing is that we've been right in it for every one of those 5 games. You know, it's not like we're getting blown out or we're playing like, you know, bad baseball per se. It's just it comes down to the little things, you know, in those games. And so, you know, every time that we have a chance to learn from one of those instances where we, you know, we either don't come through in the big spot or we, you know, give up a run we didn't want to, it's important that we just learn from those moments in the game and we improve upon it.
Kyle, you guys, you know, you especially been through the ups and downs of a season so many times. The ups are good, the downs are a little tougher, but I think the fans, you know, we go crazy, probably too crazy over wins and get too upset over losses. How do you guys couch things amongst yourselves in that locker room when you're scuffling a little like this?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think especially those of us with a good amount of seasons under our belt, it's kind of like you gotta temper those emotions a little bit because you know that it's a really long season, and you know, a stretch like this where you lose 5 games in a row can easily be counteracted, you know, when you go on a streak where you win 8 or 10 games in a row. So it's just about the entire body of work at the end of the year. So it's a fight for consistency and just being at your best every day.
Kyle Higashioka joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Kyle, you've been tasked with catching Matt Waldron every 5th day. And he's been on a little bit of a heater here as of late. In terms of what you're seeing from behind the plate, what has allowed him to have the type of success here in recent starts than maybe he was having a little bit earlier in the season?
I think he's just growing in confidence. You know, he's new to the league, so it's like anybody who's you know, it's their first year or two. There's going to be a little break-in period. Guys you're going to see other teams adjusting to you, and so you need to you know, find a way to make the readjustment back to them. And I think he's just grown in confidence in terms of attacking the zone and not letting little things get to him as much, you know, hits and when those happen, you know, he's done a lot better job of keeping a, you know, really solid mindset and approach and working through those tough innings. So I think that's been a really big key for his success.
Kyle Higashioka is with us. A couple of things on that, Kyle. First of all, we were, you know, I don't know, we kind of surmised that one of the things that's helped Waldron a little bit is the fact that he's kind of just gone ahead and said, okay, I'm a knuckleballer. And he's kind of just, you know, made peace with that. And it's kind of helped him be a little more successful. Number 2, part of that, how are you at peace with catching the knuckleball? And has it been at all difficult for you to kind of make that adjustment catching that pitch?
Yeah, I mean, it's still really difficult to catch. But I will say I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. And, you know, over the past several starts, I've just constantly been trying to tweak, you know, stuff in my setup or my personal approach to catching it to try to help me, you know, not let some of those go by. So I don't think it'll ever be easy, but I definitely have become a lot more comfortable. And so now, you know, I'm actually really enjoying catching them. It's kind of a fun way to, like a cat and mouse game to play.
Yeah, and he's unique from the standpoint of, I know we're talking about him embracing the knuckleball, but he uses his other pitches in his repertoire. And I got to ask you, I grew up watching some knuckleballers in the league. Seemed like catchers always had a different glove for the knuckleballers. You've elected to stay with the same catching glove that every catcher has. Is that because Matt uses the rest of his pitches as much as he does, or is that just a comfort thing for you?
Partly because by the numbers, he throws more normal pitches than knuckleballs on average. But also, we didn't really have a glove broken in, so it's like we're working on it. So just in case I want to use it down the road, we're working on getting one broken in. But we didn't have a glove.
That's crazy. Kyle Higashioka's with us. Kyle, there's been a little – well, first I want to ask you this. Just last night you hit the home run. You almost hit two. I thought you had a second one. The drama in the eighth inning, can you let us in on this? Were you told ahead of time that Manny might hit for you? Because the way that kind of came around to us watching the game, it was like a bit of a dramatic situation. You went out and then all of a sudden here came Manny.
Yeah. I felt like Kurt Gibson was walking down the tunnel, getting ready to hit a 3-run bomb. But no, I saw him walk in the dugout before I was on deck. I think like a few hitters before me, and so I had an idea that he might be good enough to pinch hit in that situation. And anytime you have Manny Machado on the bench, I mean, it's tough to not put him in that situation. So it didn't go our way, obviously, but a guy like Manny, you trust him in any situation.
Kyle Higashioka joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Kyle, we talked a little bit about the homer you hit yesterday. You had a little bit of a rut there, and you seemingly are starting to come out of it. I mean, what are some of the things you've been trying to focus on the offensive side to try to get yourself in this kind of range that you've been in the last couple games?
Just trying to simplify things at the plate a little bit. Trying to really hone in on swinging at better pitches, and also not trying to do too much. I know two of my last 3 hits have been homers, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm really just trying to make solid contact, and it's kind of funny how that happens, though.
Yeah.
Kyle, real quick before we let you go, and you got work to do. You played in New York. Now you're playing in San Diego. You're from Southern California. There's been some controversy. You guys have brought up how much more difficult it is to play in New York, the media versus the media in San Diego. Where do you come down on this? I don't mean to ask you such a tricky question with only a minute or so left, but can you make a little bit of a comparison yet?
There's just more media attention in New York, I don't know if it's, I guess some people obviously do find it more difficult, but a lot of it's also, the way you handle the media. If you're going to be combative and defensive, if they ask tough questions, then it's going to be a tough go for you. But they're, at the end of the day, they're just kind of interpreting what they see on the field, and if you make a bad play, you got to answer for it. So that's all it is. But with all the media attention comes a great deal of positives too. The fans are great there. They love the team. So, just like in San Diego, the fans, they care. So, that's what you want.
No doubt. Kyle, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us, man, and we'll let you get to work. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Kyle Higashioka, Gwynn and Chris, kind of breaking it all down there. Knuckleballs, catching glove.
That's funny. They did not have a glove ready for him.
It's you don't think about that kind of stuff, but
Yeah,
there
who would have
literally
one?
hadn't been a knuckleballer in this league in forever. So why would you have one? You
No,
know,
there'd be
it's
no
just-
need. Yeah. I mean, I
That
remember
was
the one
interesting.
that they used to use, to catch the Necros and Charlie Huff. I mean, those things were like, big.
It's basically like it's like a mixture of a first baseman's glove and a catcher's glove.
Yeah, but it was just huge.
Yeah, it's it's big.
I mean, you could notice it from a mile away. So,
All right, that's gonna do it for this segment. Let's get to break. What we got on the other side, Scrape?
We are going to continue our Padres conversation. You guys looking forward
More
to that?
Padre talk. Oh, by the way, at some point today, I want to give you guys my theory on the Lakers and this whole coaching.
Oh, did you see,
carousel.
Tony, that he did? It's official now?
What?
That Dan Hurley is the coach of the Lakers?
Shut up.
There was a fake account going around
Oh.
this morning that said Coach Dan Hurley.
I immediately looked to Dave because Dave would have already known
Yes,
if
I
that
know.
were true, and he didn't flinch.
No.
So I kind of knew you were.
I
lying.
know. I saw it on Twitter this morning, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he actually tweeted that he's going to the Lakers." I got the link to send to you guys, and I was like, "Wait a second!" I click, and
You
it was
thought
like
better.
3,000
Good job.
followers.
You learned.
But
you
a
went
lot
out
of
there.
people,
You did some research.
A lot of people fell for it. a lot of people fell for it.
All right, let's get to break. More Padre talk when we come back. Gwynn and Chris.
Drive
over the course of, the 100 years I've done this, it feels like, which is great. And I want 100 more. Recognize when it's not right.
Yeah.
And have a responsibility to address it. But there's nothing on my list every day that goes, man, this is a huge red flag. The fact of the matter is 5 days ago, we'd have had this conversation. We'd be like, club's looking great.
100%.
Here we go. And granted, I can't erase 5 days. Wouldn't try. Actually, I probably wouldn't last 5 days, to be honest with you. But then we go out and play, get 5 quality starts in a row, out-hit our opponent, lose 5 games. You want to start to point a finger at somebody? I don't know. You want to feel like you need to blame somebody? Blame me. Do what you got to do. But there's nothing glaring that says this club isn't doing this, and this to put themselves in a position to win. We just aren't getting it done. We're not hitting with runner in scoring position. We're not getting a big hit.
And that was part of Mike Schilt on with Ben and Woods this morning. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris here. 2:38 is the time. The full interview with the skipper is there for you to enjoy if you so wish. Go to 97.3 The Fan SD or download the Odyssey app. You can hear Mike Schilt on with Ben and Woods earlier this morning. I think at one point in the interview, Mike Schilt, in a friendly manner, called Woods "cuz." So I think that sounds like it'd be kind of fun to listen to. But, nobody's pleased right now. Teams dropped 5 in a row. Who would be pleased about that? Hopefully they'll get it turned around starting tonight. Game 2 of the series, the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby here in the Odyssey Palace. Tony Gwynn Jr. is at Petco Park, where, Scraby, I believe, we have, for everybody out there, today's Padre lineup. All right, there we go.
Am I supposed to be giving it?
I like
Chris
when you
has
give
it.
it. No, I like when Tony gives it.
Oh, we should have
I didn't have it in front of me.
Oh, you didn't have it in front of him.
We
Well,
should have
then,
probably told him.
oh yes, let me do it.
I didn't know that was coming right there.
Yeah, I know.
You
I
said
threw,
we're going to do the lineup when we get back. I thought it was coming from you.
I threw you a knuckleball. You did not have the
I
big.
dropped it.
You did not have
I
the
didn't
big
even
mitt.
get a glove on it.
You did not get a
I
glove
have it
on
if you would
Speaking
like for me to do.
speaking of catching knuckleballs, we
Yeah.
literally were keeping Kyle from his work. He's out here now. I think this is simulating throws in from the outfield that
Oh yeah.
are a little, not perfect. They're hitting them to him with the fungo from like third base. So
he's got to make the adjustment, make the catch, tag
and
the
then make
runner
the tag
type
the
of thing.
runner at home. Yeah.
He was so polite off the air that.
By the way, Kyle is literally might be the nicest man.
He
in
sounds
the
like
country.
that. He sounds like that because I said, "Thank you so much, Kyle, for your time," and he said, "You're welcome. I really got to go though." I was
This
like,
is
"You're
what
free.
he's doing.
You're free."
Yeah, he's from Huntington Beach, Southern California kid. Went to Edison High School in Huntington Beach, so right next door to Angel Stadium, where he homered the other night, and he homered in Kansas City, I guess, and
Yes,
then he
he did.
homered here
Yes,
last night.
yes.
He really came very close to hitting 2 last night.
he did.
He lined out foul down the third base line by just a bit, but good to have him going a little bit here. All right, here's the lineup for tonight. Luis will be leading off. Arise at first base, Fernando in right field, Profar in left. Cronenworth is at second base. Donovan Solano is at third base. Yes, no Manny Machado. He's not at least ready enough to be in the starting lineup tonight. David Peralta will DH. Jackson Merrill in center field. Ha-Sang Kim at shortstop. And Luis Campusano will wrap it all up tonight against Brandon Pfaadt, the young rookie who look, this guy came of age really last year in the postseason, Tony. He was not really thought a whole lot of, and then all of a sudden they thrust him into some big ball games in the playoffs, and he was lights out. So,
Yeah.
This guy's got a pretty good future, I would think. Although, he's been very inconsistent this year, as has Michael King. Michael King has been really good and then not really good. So, whatever it happened, I don't care if it's 8-7 or 1-0. They got to just find a way to hang a W up there tonight and get things turned around a little bit at Petco Park. Tony, is when you go down there today, you'll talk to Mike Schilt. You'll see a lot of the players. there's nothing that would let you in on whether or not they're in a hot streak or a cold streak, is there?
No.
Right? I mean, that's just the funniest thing about all of this. Because everybody's, walking around with a long face today in town and upset. Twitter's blowing up.
Oh, man, Twitter is crazy. I had to get off of it this morning.
You had to just get off.
Yeah. It was crazy. I understand why people are frustrated. I do.
Well, we talked about it. Bill James.
Yes.
Yeah, back to Bill James for sure.
James.
Yeah.
And this is going to be our fans' roller coaster until
it's going to be your mantra until further notice.
That's what it is. We don't need to waste too much more time trying to figure out why that is. That's what it is. These guys, you heard Kyle kind of mention it, kind of allude to it in our conversation. They don't have the time to pout or cry or be upset or whatever you want to, whatever words you want to use. They don't have the time. There is another game. Now, I'm sure, maybe you had a few brouhahas last night after the game to kind of get through it. Maybe, I don't know, whatever you do to kind of help you get through that irritation, anger, disappointment, sadness, whatever emotion you got, by the time you get up and at the very least, by the time you're on your way to the park, that has to be forgotten. You have to move on from it. I shouldn't say forgotten, but move on, because Kyle mentioned it as well. He said you try to learn from those, mistakes or the things that don't go well, and then you try to apply it the next day. That's how it has to be. That's how it is, not just in baseball either. That's how it is in every sport. If a DB gets burned on one play, and he's still thinking about that play, the next possession he's up, guess what? He's likely to get burned a game.
Yeah. It's so impressive, really, what athletes are able to do that very few of us would be able to do. We think we would, but I was thinking about it watching a hockey game a couple of weeks ago. Edmonton's goaltender, I think his name is Skinner, gave up. Skinner gave up. It might be Sin. No, that's the tennis player,
Yes.
Sinner. But he gave up a soft goal in, I think it was Game 4 against Dallas, and they fell behind, and it was at home, and then he gave up another one right after that. And I mean, the boos were raining down in that Edmonton arena because they were about to go down 3-1, and he didn't look like he could stop a shot, to save his life. It's the first period, and I mean, it is boo, and then the coach, get this guy. You can almost hear people screaming through the TV, get this loser out of here. Guess what? He gave up one goal the rest of the series, and Edmonton stormed back, won that game, and won the last two, and now they're in the finals. And I challenge the rest of us out there to be able to perform like that under those conditions sometimes, and these athletes do it all the time.
I think this is part of why the minor leagues is the greatest system for a ball player. It's because a lot of us don't come into pro ball with that skill set to be able to turn the page, right? Because what's different about pro than it is about high school and college is it's every day. And so it's so much easier during the college season to have your weekend series, be upset for Monday, Tuesday, and then you kind of get through it by Wednesday, and then Thursday, boom, game rolls around. You just back to playing baseball. When it's every day and you're having those same failures, it starts to stack on you. And a lot of us, including me, didn't have that skill set of being able to flush immediately, right? I remember a lot of times in the minor leagues, I'd be 2-3 bats in, still thinking about the first one.
Yeah.
And that was my worst season in pro ball. I hit 243 or something like that. I had 600 something at bats. I was taking all of those failures into my next at bat. It wasn't until the following year, my second full season, that I started to get better at it. And then the next year, I got a little bit better. And then by the time I got to the big leagues, it almost kind of resets again because you're at the tippy top level, and you know that, poor performance can end up you going back down. And so you got to kind of relearn all of that while fighting off the thoughts of, man, I'm going to get sit down if I can't do such and such and such. And so it's a skill set that's learned or that you get better at over time. Don't get me wrong, there are some guys who are just good at it from the very beginning, like being able to just move on from that at bat, that last pitch, whatever it is. But most of us have to kind of learn that along the way.
I got to be at one guy that I think is really good at it is Manny. I don't know
100%
for sure, but I'm thinking, like, I drove home from the game last night, and I thought about his at bat probably 7 times. You know, how he dribbled the ball back and, how disappointing it all was. I wonder how many times that went through his mind on his drive home last night. Maybe once or twice, but I can't believe he beat himself up over it because that's just what allows him to come back and be successful the next time.
I would say that he probably did beat himself up a little bit on the ride.
Right.
But then by the time he got to the crib,
yeah,
with his lovely wife and child, at that point you put it aside, and now he's dad. Now he's husband. You know, that's the thing. These guys all wear different hats. I know they're baseball players here, but they do have other portions of their life that they have to, take care of in the same way they take care of their job. And so that helps with being able to turn the page. It's not easy. I use myself as an example because I know this person better than I know everybody else. I had a hard time with that at the big league level for the early part of my career. I'd take it home with me. I'd wake up with it. And then that's just it's not healthy. It's not productive out on the field. And so, I think, these guys care about what they're doing immensely, but it doesn't mean it's going to go their way all the time. And they got to be able to move on and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, it's a little different in baseball. You got to do it right now. As opposed to, let's say, basketball.
Yeah.
Dallas Mavericks last night, I'm sure would love to put that one behind them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to wait 6.
They got to wait
weeks.
72 hours at least until the next game. Yeah, they're playing Game 2 in October.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Next month they'll play. Next month they'll play
Celtics have
game
a 1-0 series lead.
Are they moving back to Dallas? Because there's zero reason for them to have 3 days in the between if they're not traveling.
They're not playing until Sunday. I mean, it's crazy, but whatever.
I might go back to Dallas at that point.
They really could, it's only Friday. So, but again, they've got to do that, right? Donkett was the only guy who showed up last night for Dallas. And we talked about this too, Tony, going into the series. I thought it'd be Derek.
Lively.
Not Derek. Well, you thought it'd be Lively. I thought it'd be the Boston
White.
kid. Yeah. Derek White. But it was really Porzingis that turned the game last night for Boston, and as good as Tatum and Brown are, and as good as Luka and Kyrie are, it's always somebody else. Porzingis was unbelievable. I knew he was a good player. I didn't know he was that good.
Yeah,
but
we'll
he was
see if
really
he can do
on
this.
fire.
We'll see if he can keep this pace up.
I agree. Yeah.
No,
he was incredible. Both ends of the floor. I mean, he's blocking shots, going down to the other end, hitting a 3. He blocked a dunk. Then he went down, hit another 3. And before you knew it, Boston was up by 29 points. And game 1 was pretty much history. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the Laker thing with your guy, Danny Hurley, Tony.
Yes.
Scraby got fooled this morning. He read the Danny Hurley.
Scraby got fooled.
I know, it's hard to believe.
I honestly am not fooled unless I tweet or send you the tweet.
You were fooled.
Because I did my due diligence in checking.
You said that you knew that you saw the Danny Hurley coach tweet saying, "I'm the new coach of the Lakers," and you went with it right away. Then you realized, that's only got like 200 followers.
And I didn't send it to you, so that means I did not get fooled.
Oh, you got fooled.
I did not get fooled.
Tony, what's your thoughts on this Danny Hurley
think
thing?
Scrabe got fooled.
I do too.
I wish I would have sent that tweet now, because Tony, for at least half a second, would have been super excited.
Yeah, I would have been for a second. No, I wouldn't have. If you would have sent it to me, I'd have definitely been like, let me check this, because Scraby has a propensity of...
propensity?
Yes, he does.
Of getting things wrong.
Getting things wrong occasionally. I got a theory on that, by the way.
What is it? Yeah.
And the only way I think it'll be wrong is if J.J. Redick ends up with the job. But I find it quite hilarious that for everybody that we've talked to, everything we've read had indicated J.J. Redick, and then we find out yesterday the Lakers had 3 different meetings with Dan Hurley. I think there was I don't know if the Lakers actually put it out there, but they certainly were willing to let it roll as long as they did. And here's why I say that. When the season ended, do you remember who the two coaches were that the Lakers were in on?
No.
I remember.
My guy for the Clippers, Lou.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tyrone Lue.
What
yes.
happened to him? He got an
He
extension.
immediately got an extension.
The other guy was Jason Kidd. He immediately got an extension. So, like, I think the Lakers probably were like, listen, we keep letting people know who we want. They're going to keep getting locked up where they are or not going to be available. And now, to find out that they had already met with Hurley a couple different times prior to us finding out yesterday. If Dan Hurley ends up as a coach, I think that was their intent the entire time.
Right. And they're just happy to have everybody misreported because it gets them off the scent.
Do you think
Gets 'em
that
off the scent.
JJ Redick was in on this? Because
I don't know, man, because he said something the other day
that's cold.
that kind of flummoxed me a little bit.
Flummoxed you.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn Jr.
said-
propensity, flummoxed.
What did he take an SAT
What did Tony
class
say
in the
yesterday
morning?
that was
He was
all-time
asked
classic?
on a podcast about all that was happening with him and the job, and he said, you know what, right now I'm doing the finals. It's an honor to be doing it, blah, blah, blah. In terms of what you're asking, you'll know more after the finals is over.
Makes me
I was
think
like, that's a
he's-
weird way to
Yeah.
answer that question.
That is weird. It makes me think that they were using him as a smokescreen.
And he had this he had this grin on his face that just made it like kind of like, what? That seemed kind of weird.
That
He,
is
he
I don't
was
know.
he was thinking to himself, all you guys are going to look like idiots.
It's
it's
just my theory.
just not true. I know what word Tony used the other day that caught me.
What?
Because somebody actually came up to me elsewhere, I don't know who, and said, man, that was hilarious when he said that. The word was criminy.
Oh, yes.
Remember
Criminy.
that one?
Yes, I do remember
I had a couple
criminy.
of people respond to that with me.
Hey, sometimes
They like that one.
seniors lingo comes out of me.
I see. That was a senior word.
That's not a word that's in my lexicon
You're not
necessarily,
walking
but
around stubbing your toe and going, criminy! I need you to do that from now on.
Oh, boy.
I'm not walking around stubbing my toe saying, "Gravity."
Daily Gambit, the countdown among things ahead here in the 3 o'clock hour. Stick around.
7-3 The Fan.
Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. We got a daily Gambit lined up for you. Not sure what we're betting on today, but usually Chris and Scraby get us going in the right direction there.
We are going to not be betting on the Hall of Fame game. NFL announced that the Hall of Fame game is set for August 1st.
Oh.
You know, we football fans have to bide our time until then. Do you want to hear who's playing in the Hall of Fame game this year?
No, because you know what? You crushed me a few weeks ago for the Hall of Fame game, saying it was the stupidest thing in the world.
Oh, it is the stupidest thing in the world.
but you're the one bringing up who's playing in it.
That's because as soon as it airs on August the 1st from Canton, Ohio, I will direct you to put it on the television just so I can see the two teams in action for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I will no longer care.
Yeah, you will not be paying attention after the first 5
But
or
I
10
just want to
minutes.
see, football being played. The game will be contested this year in the Hall of Fame game. The Chicago Bears taking on the Houston Texans.
Oh, man.
Got the last two big quarterbacks. You got Caleb and C.J. Stroud going head-to-head if they at all play in that game.
You know, we didn't get Tony's opinion on this, but C.J. Stroud put out his own list of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and I thought it was funny because he did it on a podcast, and he had Jalen Hurts at number 5, and then when he re-released it, he said he forgot about Josh Allen, so he booted Jalen Hurts, but he put himself at number 3. Bottom
at
line,
least he didn't say he forgot about himself.
Yes, he put himself at number 3.
He just kept himself third.
He went Mahomes, I can't remember who was number 3. C.J. Stroud, Josh Allen, and not Jalen Hurts, someone else. But do you think Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, Tony? That was our question.
He had Lamar Jackson in there.
Jackson, yes, that's right.
Lamar, Patrick,
Himself,
Josh Allen,
and then someone that wasn't Jalen Hurts. He bumped Jalen Hurts out.
Didn't he put Aaron Rodgers in?
No.
I put Aaron
I'll look while you
Rodgers
guys are
in.
discussing.
I put Aaron
So what do you
Rodgers
ask me? Do I think that
Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
Also, do you think it's a good idea for a young quarterback to put out his list of the top 5 quarterbacks?
I don't mind him putting out that list. He was asked a question.
Okay.
So he didn't just come on, hey, guys, let me give you guys my top 5 here. He didn't do that. So I'm actually okay with him giving the top 5.
All right.
I'm personal preference. I start that by saying this. Personal preference, if I was a top 5 anything and I was asked to make a list, I wouldn't put myself in it.
Yeah.
I just think that, I obviously think very highly of myself. But I don't need to be in a list.
I don't need to make a list to confirm it.
Oh, the 5th was, and this is why it was kind of weird. The 5th was Dak Prescott.
Yeah, no, that's out of pocket. Jalen Hurts.
It's out of pocket.
You know what? I shouldn't say that. I don't. Dak gets he gets I think he gets the short end of the stick a lot of times when we're talking about quarterbacks because I think he plays for the Cowboys, but so it's automatically fun to poke fun at him when it doesn't go well. He hasn't played great the last 2 seasons. I would say he's not a top 5 quarterback right now. I would put Jalen Hurts ahead of Dak Prescott. I don't know if even Jalen Hurts is top 5 right now, but since he's in the mention of this list, I'll put him there over Dak. But yeah, I don't mind. I think that's kind of this generation's thing. I think my generation, maybe definitely Chris's generation, if they were asked to make a top 5 list, they would consider that list without themselves. But I think CJ's not alone in this. I think we see that often.
Unless you're making a list of sports talk show hosts, and I go right to the top,
you
baby.
You go to the top.
You're actually honorable mention on my list.
I would never.
Wow, sir. That's a shot fired right there.
It is.
Like this is
I just want
this
it
is
on the
a
record.
crime on your own teammate. Right
I want it on the record for all those who think that we're mean to Scraby. These are the kinds of reasons why we're not.
You didn't even say like bottom of the 5 list. You put him at honorable mention. Like
I know. Didn't even
I
go
will
there.
admit,
Hey,
I was
they
going for most
they
hurt
say-
possible.
They say it be your own people sometimes. That's a shame.
No,
That's a shame.
That's a shame.
Okay,
Let's
all right.
let's get to Daily Gambit.
No, okay, Daily Gambit. Yeah, just shut me up, please.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. We are going to review the bets that we did yesterday, and then we're going to go into some of the bets for the weekend.
Oh, let's please review those bets we made yesterday.
Chris is going to we kind of bet alike, so I guess that helps me, too, if you do well. But we had Boston 6.5-point favorites over the Dallas Mavericks last night. Both of us went with Boston thinking they're going to win game one at home, and they did convincingly, 107-89 for the Celtics.
1-0.
Yeah. Who scored more, Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum? We both said Luka, and Luka definitely scored more. He had 30. I think Tatum only had 16, something like that.
Yeah, for all the people out there saying Jaylen Brown has become the number one option, I just want to point out the fact that they pretty much double-teamed Tatum all game long, so he should have been giving up the rock to the guy who was single-covered and had all the points.
Jason Tatum takes a lot of heat for being a guy that's supposedly does not score in crunch time.
Huh.
I don't have enough behind me to to say
to
whether
agree
that's
or
true
disagree.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep an eye on it. Hopefully there is some crunch time in the series. There was none yesterday.
No. Randy Vasquez over under 4.5 strikeouts in last night's game. Both Chris and I went under, and we won this one too. He had 3 strikeouts in the game.
3-0.
3-0. Slade, is it
Ciccone.
Ciccone.
Slade Ciccone.
It looked like he had some Siccones on the mound, too, by the way. But I don't think he did. It just looked like Siccones.
Is Ciccone a shoe?
I hope so.
Oh, okay. I got to go
Yeah, I
look
had
it
no
up
idea.
because you're talking to the 2 least fashionable guys on the station, for
Pretty
sure.
much.
Slade Ciccone, 5.
We're at least honorable mention.
Yeah. At
In
least
that category.
5 1/3 innings pitched. Would he go over, under that? I went over, you went under, and he went 4 1/3. So, Chris, you won that one.
4-0.
Alcaraz, minus 2.5 games over Sinner. And I know they played a lot of games, and I'm pretty sure, did he? I didn't.
It was
add all
an
these
unbelievable match. Alcaraz won it in the 5th set.
Yes.
But he did not beat the spread. Alcaraz won 23 games. Sinner won 22.
All right, and yes, there you go.
So that was another win for me, 5-0.
And then the games were then 45, right?
Yes, total
Okay.
was 39.5. I bet over. 6-0 for me.
6-0 for
Yeah.
you. Wow, nice job.
Scraby, look.
Oh, he's showing me the Saucony shoes.
I call them Siccones.
Is that what the name is?
Oh, those are Siccones?
No, I don't know that he was wearing them, but I used to own quite a few pair. It was a good shoe.
You know what? I do remember that shoe brand, but that is not what came to my mind when you said Saucony.
No, I thought Saucony was how you spelled that or how you pronounce that
No.
word.
Hey, to be fair, it could be Saucony, but I always called them Siccones.
I think they're
know.
Sauconys, and but Scraby does fashion himself as an excellent name pronouncer.
I did. Thank
normally.
you. Oh, did you tell Tony? So Chris
Yes,
was
you
perturbed.
told him. You
No,
told
we didn't.
him.
Chris was perturbed that I was saying Swiatek was how you pronounce her last name.
Yes, we did. We did go.
Oh,
over
and then
this.
he heard on the TV that the announcer was
this
saying
is what happens
Swiatek,
when he's
and he was
actually.
mad at
This
me.
is what happens when he's right for a change. He repeats the story like 12 times.
He has
'Cause
to.
he's got nothing else to
okay.
go to.
So it's Saucony.
Is Saucony?
Or Saucony. That's what it says. SAWKUHNEE.
Oh, that's the
Phonetic.
Okay,
So it's
phonetic,
not
okay.
Saucony.
No, it's.
All right.
I'm gonna
I've
go
been
with
calling
Saucony,
it the
though.
wrong
So
name
everybody
for,
was a
for over,
miss
for
there.
over 40 years now. So
Interesting.
I'll change it up.
Change it up.
No, stay with Saucony.
Either
like
that
that
or the
better.
pitcher's going to have to change his name. One or the other.
All right, Chris, what do we got?
All right, tonight we've got, we got the Padres. I mean, are they going to break this streak or not? The odds makers keep thinking they are. Padres are favored by 1.5 runs to beat the Diamondbacks tonight. Not only do they have to win, Tony, they got to win by 2. Is tonight the night for the Friars to Turn it around.
Whose turn is it?
Yeah, I said Tony. Doesn't matter.
Okay, Tony.
Tony, feeling it?
Yes, they break it tonight.
Breaking it?
Boom.
Chris? I mean, really, the smart money says to take the Diamondbacks plus the 1.5, but whoever said I was smart. I'll take the Padres. Come on. They got to break it. Tony? Or Scraby?
Yeah, I'm going to go Padres, too.
Padres. All right, straight up, who pitches more innings tonight? Brandon Pfaadt or Michael King? Who lasts deeper into the game? They both have the same odds of 5 2/3 innings. So who's going to pitch more? I'll start. And Michael King's going to be on fire tonight. Pfaadt is a young guy that comes out of the game early. It is King to win this one. Scravy?
Yeah, I'm going to go with King as
You're
well.
going with King.
He pitched, 7 innings against the Royals? That was a quietly great day for him.
Pfaadt's had a couple of really good games this year, but they've been few and far between. I'm going to say King. Tony?
King.
All right, into the French Open. Tomorrow is the women's final. On one side will be Paolini. I don't even know her first name, but she's the 12th seed. It's her first ever appearance in a final. She's 28 years old. She's been around for a while, never had this kind of success. She's made a run to the finals to take on number 1, Iga
Swiatek.
Thank you.
Really good at saying that now.
Yes, you are. And the odds makers have Iga
Swiatek
as a 6.5 game favorite.
Okay.
Which means if she were to win 6-3, 6-3, that would not be enough. She's going to have to win even more convincing than that to beat the spread. Scraby.
Swiatek is on fire, so I'm going to go with Swiatek.
You just want to say that as many times as you can.
That's not true.
Tony, who do you like here?
What's her first name again?
Iga.
Iga, yeah.
Give me Iga.
Iga. He doesn't even want to go after
I'm
her.
not even gonna butcher her last name like that.
There is no way this 28-year-old is going to be able to hang in there. I mean, Iga crushed Coco Gauff. So I will take Iga.
Swiatek. He
Thank
keeps
you.
pointing at me.
You are the guy.
Is it as much of a lock as it was that the Padres are going to sweep the Rockies?
There was a sweep in that series, I mind you.
Yes, there was.
The men's finals on Sunday. Carlos Alcaraz prevailed over Jakob Sinner today to reach the final. He'll be taking on Alexander Zverev. This is the 3 seed against the 4 seed. Alcaraz being the 3 seed. His total number of games won is 20.5. So it's a different bet than we normally make. Alcaraz, 20.5 games won.
Okay.
So if he were to win like 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, he would only win 18 games.
Gotcha.
That wouldn't be enough.
Am I up?
So it is Tony's turn.
So it's an over-under.
The men's final on Sunday morning. Over-under.
Give me the 4 seed to cover.
The 4 seed to cover. I don't know what that was.
So
that's not what we're betting.
No, I thought we were doing over
this
and under.
Alcaraz is the 3 seed.
Yes.
And the whole bet is solely on him. You're not even worried about the other guy.
Oh, okay.
This is whether or not Alcaraz himself will win 20.5 or
so
more
it's
games.
over-under.
Over-under. So if the match goes 4 or 5 sets, he's likely to do it. But if he were to...
I think he's going over then.
Going to go over. I'm going to go over because I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 set match. Vera's very good.
Over.
We've all agreed on all 4 bets so far, which is bad news for somebody somewhere. All right, into the Stanley Cup Finals are upon us. Saturday
They're
night.
still playing? I'm joking.
They haven't even started.
I'm joking.
They're like the NBA. They think that a month and a half off is a good idea. Florida Panthers game 1 at home are a 1.5 goal favorite over the Edmonton Oilers. Scraby.
The Panthers.
You're taking Florida here, huh?
No.
You can.
I'm going Oilers.
You're going Oilers.
Yes.
Taking the points.
Yeah.
Tony?
This is the Oilers got my man. Is it McDavis?
McDavid.
My
man McDavis.
Yeah.
I love the my man thing, by the way. It
give
has
me the
changed my
Oilers.
life, Tony. Just being able to use the phrase my man.
My man.
because I forget everybody's name. And now that I have that as my go-to.
It's a great way to get it. Yep.
It works every time.
Give me the Oilers.
You're
Give me the Oilers.
All right, just to be different, I'll take Florida in Game 1. Although most hockey games have been decided by one goal. Finally, the NBA Finals Game 2 will be Sunday night. Boston will be 7-point favorite over Dallas. I'm pretty sure Dallas comes back and either evens the series, but definitely plays much better. I'll take Dallas.
I
Plus
concur.
7. Tony concurs. Scrabe?
I'm going to go against you guys.
Going to take Boston for another easy win.
Yep.
And finally, who will score more points in that game Sunday night, Jaylen Brown or Kyrie Irving? Kyrie was kind of quiet last night, I must say. He got booed loudly, though. I'll tell you, those fans in Boston, they know how to boo.
Yes,
They're good at that.
Yes,
They're
they
good at
are.
that.
I mean, he got loud boos from the very beginning all the way through.
Real quick before we go to break,
Yes.
Pitchers Nation on Instagram put together it's not a side-by-side, it's I guess a north-south video.
I retweeted this, yeah.
Of Adolis Chapman.
Aroldis.
Aroldis, excuse me. I said Adolis. I'm getting Garcia in there.
It's okay.
Aroldis Chapman in 2010 throwing 105.8 to me.
Oh, my God.
Having the fastest pitch in the league that year. 14 years later, he still has the fastest pitch this year, 104 miles per hour. That is depressing.
He himself has thrown the fastest pitch this year?
Yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
Wow.
That's depressing because, 14 years, there should be like a whole lot of velocity come down at that point.
Man.
This dude has lost basically 2 miles per hour on his fastball.
Barely.
On his best one.
And he's still got the best one.
Jeez Louise.
Talk about a freak of nature. Tony Gwynn Jr., who got a line drive foul ball off that 105 mile per hour pitch.
I
don't know that it was a line drive.
It's one of my favorite achievements. I mean, it still, in my mind, beats out your homer the other day against Contreras. I must tell you.
If you go to my Twitter, @MattScravy, you'll go, just scroll down a little bit, you'll find this. But my favorite is when the first pitch comes in, Tony doesn't swing. He just kind of looks at it go by, and I can imagine Tony being like, oh, man. This is
Yeah, it's
fast.
the first time I seen it. You had heard a lot about it at that point, but it was like, all right, here we go, lefty on lefty. Don't get hit in the face. That's all I was thinking about. Let me be able to move if this ball's coming at my face.
Did you actually see the ball, or did you just hear it?
The first one, I might have just heard it.
Yeah.
After that, I started to see it a little bit.
Man.
Ugh, that's crazy.
All right, Tony, real last one. Tony's going Kyrie. I'm going Jaylen Brown. Scraby, who are you going?
Kyrie.
All right, there's our picks. We'll see how it goes on Monday. I'll probably follow up a 6-0 with a 0-7.
Probably.
That's usually how it works.
That's exactly how it works. All right, Tony's got the broadcast tonight, but he'll be with us for the countdown, which is coming up at the bottom of this hour. Also, our Big Five a little later on. More Gwynn and Chris on the way after traffic, and I think Tony was supposed to take us out.
From the 97.
Gwynn and Chris, back at you. 3:25 is the time. Coming up, our weekly countdown segment. This week's topic, things that we miss in the world of sports. Things that we miss in the world of sports, stuff that we used to enjoy that no longer really happens in sports. We'll count it down in just a little bit. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby together in the Odyssey Palace Studios. Tony Gwynn Jr. at Petco Park. Stepped away for a moment. He'll be back with us shortly. Scraby, while we have just a minute here in this segment, can I petition and get a little help from the congregation out there?
Okay.
Can we just get rid of the stupid WAR statistic in baseball?
Oh, no. I heard you on the round table yesterday. Why? Why does it bother you?
Well, let me explain.
Okay.
Right now, the WAR leaders in the American League for outfielders, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker. Probably the best three outfielders in the American League.
Makes sense.
Got no problem with any of those three. WAR works. Here are the leaders in the National League in the outfield. Number 1, Jurickson Profar.
Yes.
Okay, I'm okay obviously with that. Number 2, Helio Ramos. If anybody can tell me what team that guy plays for.
Oh, I know.
Who?
The Giants.
Very good. But my
Didn't
point
he have
is
a big hot streak there for like a week or something?
He's got 5 home runs. He's hitting .304. Nobody's going to confuse Helio Ramos.
I think it's
with
Helio.
Helio, okay. Nobody's going to confuse this guy with being an all-star, but he's the number 2 guy. Number 3, Brandon Marsh of the Phillies. Brandon Marsh is pretty good. He's on the injured list right now. He's also a platoon player. He doesn't even start against left-handed pitching.
I did not know that.
Number 4, Jacob Young. Again, I ask, anybody out there know who he is and what team he plays for?
I thought he was a Ranger, but you're doing NL, so.
He's a Washington National young outfielder who's hitting .277, yet he ranks 4th in National League WAR among outfielders. And then finally, 5th is Fernando. Believe it or not, most of us feel Fernando's not having a great year, although he's on a red-hot streak.
He's heating up.
But my whole point of this is that if you're going to tell me that 3 of the best 5 outfielders in the National League are Helio Ramos, Brandon Marsh, and Jacob Young, with Jesse Winker and Blake Perkins not far behind in the WAR category, I'm going to tell you that the WAR category is just stupid.
Well, how are you viewing this WAR category? Wherever you found this, how is the person using it?
I don't know. It's a list. It's the statistics. It's the official statistics of Major League Baseball.
No, I get.
I'm not getting this anywhere.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
because I do see arguments made like this player is better than this player because their WAR is better. I don't think that makes sense to me because WAR doesn't explain everything.
Come on.
I mean,
WAR
Fernando,
is just so stupid.
Fernando's a better outfielder than those guys. We know that. He won the
well,
Platinum
look,
Glove
I mean,
year.
guys that are there above. I mean, Christian Yelich, Brian Reynolds. Look, there's some. It's a down year for National League outfielders. I've heard a lot of people say that. But you cannot convince me that one of the top 3 outfielders in the National League is Helio Ramos. Nobody even knows who this guy is. Even in San Francisco, they don't know who he is.
Let me see real quick.
Please.
What? Because I think
WAR
the
is so
reason that
dumb.
his WAR is so high is because he's only played. Where's his stats? There it is. He's only played 26 games.
He's had enough to qualify because he's there.
And I'm telling you, he went on this crazy tear.
No, he couldn't have been on a tear. He has 5 home runs. The WAR statistic
in 26 games.
All right, so are you gonna join me in this quest to get rid of this dumb statistic, or are you gonna fight against me here to keep it?
I don't think it's going anywhere, so I don't want to waste my energy in getting rid of it.
It really needs to go somewhere, because I mean, a lot of people they look at that, they think that's what judges who the best players are in baseball. Sorry, it doesn't do a very good job of it.
I can't do that. I can't.
I mean, basically, and again, Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He's really good. But because of the WAR statistic, he's basically regarded as the best player in the history of the sport. And that's just not accurate.
Helio Ramos has 170 OPS plus.
Oh, great. What's his BAPIP? Good?
It's not on this sheet. No, I'm telling you, this guy, like, I remember, unless I'm thinking of another guy.
We should dust off a spot next to Joe DiMaggio for this guy in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, Helio Ramos. It's your guy.
Sometimes I can't stand you. He debuted on May 8th.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
War.
Oh, I'm being called a shill for war.
Wait a minute. War? What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Someone put that on the chat.
Did they put that on the chat
They
too?
did. They did.
Right,
Yeah,
very good.
the war stat is kind of weird.
I don't like it. I never have. When we come back, our countdown. You're going to like that. I do like that. It's next on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Wood.
you love Mediterranean food, like I do, like Scraby does, try Spiro's Authentic Mediterranean, Coronado, La Jolla. Also, now at Petco Park. Going to the ball game tonight, have a little Spiro's for dinner. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Chris Ello? Yes, Tony. Mr. Gwynn? Mr. Scraby?
Did you just
I threw that in
on me?
I threw that in for you. You just said I was barely in the honorable mention list of top sports talk show hosts.
Yeah, that was.
Got to get you back for that one.
Mean.
Big doings in sports this weekend. Never mind the NBA Finals continuing. Never mind the Stanley Cup playoffs opening. Never mind French Open. Stop the world. Dodgers-Yankees series begins tonight.
Oh, and you want to up the dramatic factor a little bit?
All right.
Juan Soto is missing the game tonight due to forearm
contusion.
No, not contusion. It's like
swelling,
soreness.
I'm sorry.
Inflammation.
I wasn't going to watch anyway, but just get ready to be overwhelmed with Dodger-Yankee coverage.
Yeah,
because we're supposed to care. Traffic.
Were they big? Sorry, were they Brooklyn and the Yankees? Were they rivals?
Oh yeah. Oh
okay.
my God, they played in the World Series almost every year back in the 50s and stuff. Yankees, Dodgers. That's where it all started.
All right.
All right. Let's check traffic, and then Tony's back. It's time for our countdown.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a handful of trouble spots here. Eastbound 78, Nordall Road off-ramp, a crash in the clearing stage, and lanes have reopened along the 78 in Ramona. They had things shut down between Rancho Santa Teresa and Kastner Road, both directions for investigation of a fatal motorcycle accident that happened a little after noon today. Yes, lanes are reopened. Speeds are getting back to normal in that area. Hit-and-run crash on southbound 5 just past Delmar Heights Road. This is in the second lane from the left. Further south on the 5, just before Garnett, the Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a ladder between the two left lanes. Crash has cleared from the Mollison off-ramp, westbound 8, and the Siempre Viva on-ramp to westbound 905. Car and Big Rig involved in the collision there over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, every week we pick a topic. We count down our top 5 in that category. And, well, we've arrived at that time for this week. So let's get to it. I was sitting at the ball game last night with former Major League umpire Mike Winters. Of course, Tony knows him well. Everybody pretty much knows Mike well now. And he's been on the telecasts this year, Padre Baseball, going over rules changes and rule violations and questions. And he's a fun guy to talk baseball with. One thing he told me last night that I did not realize, guys, the very first game ever played at Petco Park between the Padres and Giants, Mike Winters had home plate in that game. So
that is pretty crazy. That's a good little feather in your cap.
A little nugget. But we're
technically the second game.
Right, I know. The Aztecs and the Houston Cougars was the first game. The Aztec baseball team actually.
Did you do that game?
Open the yeah, I did. It was fun. They the kid for the Aztecs, Shoemaker, pitched a shutout in the ball game. And I can't remember the kid who hit the first home run.
Shoemaker had good. It was Riley Embry, my former
Riley
roommate.
Embry, there you go. He hit the
head
first home
coach
run.
at Del Norte High.
Is that? Oh, okay, Riley. Shout out.
Shout out.
On the first home run ever at Petco Park. Right down the right field line, if I recall, into the Petco porch, which I don't believe had been named yet.
No, it was just a weird angle over there at that time.
All right. But anyway, so Mike and I were going over some of the things we used to love about baseball that no longer exist. And it got me thinking about today's topic, which is top 5 things we miss in sports. So glad you went there.
I mean, it had to. Come on.
Did.
It was just a lob right there.
Top 5 things we miss from the world of sports that really no longer exist, that were always a part of the games and have changed because of rules or just times gone by or the coverage of sports. So that is today's category. Number 5, I'm going to start with Matt Scraby today because this is his last day in studio before he undergoes his shoulder surgery. One last best wishes out there
Thank
for
you.
Mr.
I think
Scraby.
Chris is just trying to make me nervous. On the phone with his wife earlier, he was like saying that I was going to die on the table or something like that. He's like,
she was getting really mad at me, too.
I don't want to make Scraby sad or, scared, but, I hope he has a good doctor.
I hope he has a good anesthesiologist.
Yes. And Lori was like, Chris, stop it.
Don't do that to him.
All right, my number 5 is something that I really enjoyed, the pitcher hitting in the National League.
Get out of here.
And I will tell you why. Because there is nothing better than seeing a pitcher get a big hit, a double, a triple, or when Daniel Camarena took Max Scherzer deep in that game for a grand slam. That was maybe the most exciting thing I've seen with a pitcher hitting in my entire life.
Go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say, except that the reason why it's exciting because it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
99, oh my God, he got a hit.
99% of the time, it's a waste of our time, or was a waste of our time. But
Right.
you're right. Every once in a blue moon, like Bartolo Colon hitting a home run, was another one.
But then the pitcher hitting too is also, as a fan, it could be great because here comes an easy out, or it could be excruciating because now the pitcher got a double and you thought he was an easy out.
All right. Well, I don't think they're going to go back.
I don't think so either. And I'm
That
fine
one's a
with
wrap.
it, but
All right. Tony Gwynn Jr., something you miss about sports.
Number 5, being able to watch whoever playing safety absolutely annihilate somebody
That is a good
coming
one.
across the
I
middle.
did think of that. I
I know that it's not healthy.
Can we also add in a defensive lineman blindsiding Joe Montana? There was nothing quite like that either.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I would couple that with the safety and on a pick, watching a defensive lineman just look to hammer anybody who's coming down the field that they're not paying attention. That's number 5 on my
The
list.
games are they're far too safe now.
Head on a swivel.
Yeah, those. It wasn't fun for the player that got hit, but it sure was fun to watch that stuff. Number 5 for me, I'm going to go with football, and I'm going to go with muddy fields.
Oh.
They are so good now with the grass and the turf and the indoor stadiums in the cold weather cities. You don't get a good mud football game ever anymore. And I used to think it was a big part of football, playing in the slop and the mud and the rain. And I'm sure nobody enjoyed playing in it, but it was always a lot of fun to watch. So I miss those.
Yeah. Our friend of the show, Greg Camarillo, actually returned a punt on Monday Night Football one time. And it was so rainy in Pittsburgh is where they were playing when he was with the Dolphins that the punt came down and just stuck.
I remember that game.
Into the ground. And he had to pick it out of the ground to
I
get
remember
going.
that game. Yeah, it was a downpour for sure.
All right.
But even if there's a downpour now, the fields never get muddy. I mean, keep in mind, they used to have some football stadiums in the NFL that played on baseball fields.
That's right.
In the month of September.
Oh, true.
So there was already dirt on the field.
Yeah, that is true.
So don't get that anymore.
My number 4 is sports pre-internet, and it's specifically how a fan, if you were a fan of a team, because I do remember this, you had to follow. You had to buy all the publications that had reports on these players. You couldn't just go online, watch 2 minutes of Gwynn and Chris, and then say, why do you guys never criticize the players? Even though you've only watched 2 minutes of the show. I miss the fan having to do a little bit of extra work to be a fan. Does that make sense?
That's too easy nowadays, you say.
Yes, thank you. That's it.
All right. Tony.
I'm going to take this to baseball, and it doesn't have anything to do with being on the field, but I miss every day at about 10 o'clock turning on ESPN and getting Baseball Tonight highlights.
Yeah.
Now I don't even think they might have Baseball Tonight like once a month now, and it's not nearly the same show. I mean, at that point, Baseball Tonight had 4 guys at the desk bouncing different things off of each other that kind of broke down the game. You got to see each team with their highlights. The teams that were, bad, they got shorter highlights back of the show. But you got your fill of baseball right then and there every day. Now, I know they got the MLB network now, so kind of changed, really ruined baseball tonight at that point because there's no need for it. And all the
now the highlights
baseball
are going
players,
all day long.
Right. But I miss that because that was really the only baseball you got unless you watched the game, right? You had to tune in, get your fill of baseball. I miss that. Number 4 on my list.
That's a good one.
All right, I'm going to take the same direction as Tony, but I'm going to go back a lot further. I'm going to go back to a show called This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen.
Good one.
Which was played back in the 70s and 80s, Scraby. I know we can turn back the clock, but let's be honest, this was before ESPN existed.
Yep.
So you didn't get to see any highlights all week. The only thing you got to see, other than, maybe your own team playing, was Saturday afternoon for an hour. Mel Allen would narrate This Week in Baseball, and they would have the highlights of all of the games that week. And that's the only time you got to see, I don't know, Reggie Jackson hit a 3-run homer for the Yankees, or Johnny Bench throw out a base runner.
I think that kind of goes along with mine, where sports pre-internet, where you had to watch that show to see that.
Yeah, This Week in Baseball was must-see TV if you wanted to follow, and see highlights of your favorite guys, because you didn't get to see it otherwise.
Good one, guys.
All right.
Number 3.
So number 3 we go. Scraby.
This one has to specifically do with Chris, but I miss appointment games. I miss when everybody in the world was watching the game at the same exact time, because now I don't have to worry about, is Chris going to get mad at me if I say, look at that Aztecs touchdown, or give the score on the air when we're doing a show. And he didn't want to know the score because Chris is King DVR with the sports. And so this became a Chris bashing. Didn't come into this meaning for it to be Chris bashing, but I miss appointment games.
Like Monday Night Football? Is that what you're referring to back in the day? Or?
Like when the Aztecs play at 7:30 p.m., everybody has to watch TV at 7:30 p.m. There's no recording, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Appointment television.
Yes, yes. Everybody is in front of the TV at the same time watching that game.
I got you. All right, number 3, Tony Gwynn Jr. Things you miss about sports.
Things I miss about sports. I'm going to take it to the NBA.
Okay.
Ooh. I miss hand checking.
That is such a random thing to miss.
I know, it's random, but I just,
How about just being able to guard anybody at all?
Right. I mean, you got to listen. The athletes in basketball have always been top tier, but it's virtually impossible to stop anybody now because you can't touch them. Like, you can't even breathe on them. If it's a foul, immediately. I miss that. Just that to me. I mean, the guys who were getting buckets at that point, with somebody literally putting their hand on your hip and just kind of riding you wherever you went. Like, there's still guys getting by you at that point. I miss the defense being able to have some weapon other than sliding their feet. It's as we see now, it's almost impossible to stop anybody.
Yeah, it is not easy in the NBA. You just have to hope they miss. Number 3 for me is going to be something that I've noticed this year in baseball. And I didn't hear where there was any, limit on this. And Tony, you've seen every game, the Padres at least, and I haven't seen it. Does anybody throw a pitch out anymore in Major League Baseball to try and slow down the running game?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
A pitch out. I haven't seen a pitch out this season.
We've had a couple this year.
Have you?
Yes.
Wow, I missed
Here's
them.
why you don't notice it.
Okay.
And Jesse has said this a couple different times on our broadcast.
Yeah.
The pitch out doesn't look the same way it used to. Remember, the catcher used to be in his crouch. He'd come out to the whatever side was open, whether it was left hand. If it was a left-handed hitter,
go all the way into the batter's box.
So now the idea is they don't go to the outside. They just stand up. And so it can work as a pitch out / you get a swing at somebody swinging at a pitch that it's a little bit closer to the zone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that Jesse actually asked the staff about it, and that was what they told us. So you just don't recognize. Don't get me wrong. Pitch out don't happen very often at all.
Yeah.
But they definitely have happened a few times this year, and you may not have recognized it because of that.
I just assumed that analytics came in and said, hey, no more pitch outs. We can't be wasting pitches like that. Yeah. So.
I mean, there might have been no more pitch outs because nobody was running enough at that point. So they just kind of made it just went away with it.
There was a moment in the game last night, I thought, where Jake McCarthy came in to pinch run for Arizona late in the ball game, and I just felt like he was going to run, and they threw over to first base to check him once or twice, and I'm like, he's going for sure now. And I thought this would be a perfect time for a pitch out. Because he's going to be stealing.
If I'm not mistaken, that might have been. I mean, I know the pitch was up,
right,
and it was a good pitch to throw in. I don't know if it was a pitch out or not, but it definitely was up.
So maybe they just look different now. Maybe they just look different now. Okay, good point. I'm glad
you know what pitch outs are good for, Chris? In MLB The Show, when you're playing online, you pitch out when you know someone's going to steal, and you catch them every single time.
They used to work. Also, you could pitch out on a squeeze play, and there's no way the guy can bunt the ball.
Interesting. Didn't think about that.
Number 2.
All right, I'm going to go quick with this one. Tony kind of already mentioned it with the NFL, but when you could actually hit the quarterback, and every time your team sacks the quarterback, you're worried about a penalty because there's too much weight being put on the quarterback or something like that. So it is ridiculous, but
well,
it's the
to be
rule.
fair, these linemen were getting a little ridiculous. They were like splash diving on these quarterbacks when they tackled them. So they kind of had to do something about it.
I get that part, but you know what I'm talking about with some of the rules where it's like they barely touch them and they go down. Anyway, so that's
fair enough.
Number 2.
Tony.
Number 2, and this was something that I learned to be good at playing, but I miss being able to break up a double play.
Oh,
yes. I do. I miss that.
Yeah, going in there and creating a little havoc at second base.
They know it's coming. You know it's coming. And most of the time, the infielders were so good at that time in terms of their footwork. It was really hard to get somebody. It basically had to be like a slow roller that they just didn't have time to prep for you. But most of the time, man, I could be booking it down there. I could never get Jimmy. I could never get certain guys because they were just so good at maneuvering
Tony's
around the
missing
base.
all the physical play in these games. He's missing basketball.
I got my buddy Jerry Harris
hand
a
check.
couple times.
He's missing football with the hard hits. Now he's missing breaking up double plays.
Breaking up double plays.
Scrappy, I think you should tweet out when we get done with this segment a video of Hal McRae on Willie Randolph.
Thanks for signing me up for this tweet.
Well, it'll take you a second to find it, and it's worth it because people need to see what Hal McRae once did to Willie Randolph trying to break up a double play in a Yankees-Kansas City playoff game.
There was slightly
it almost caused a full-on riot.
Yeah.
Yes, I will tweet this out. But there was something in the softball World Series yesterday where there was a double play being turned, but the girl going into second stood up really tall until the last possible second, and then she just dropped like a sack of potatoes, and I think they called her out. I think
interference.
Yeah,
interference.
Yeah,
I can get that. All right, number 2 for me is just going to be anything that analytics have taken away from the game of baseball, such as the complete game, such as the shutout, the complete game shutout. I know it's not completely gone, but it pretty much is. Most sacrifice bunting has been taken out of the game, although the Padres did it twice last night, and I was genuinely surprised and pleased to see some of that little ball
executed too.
And they executed it, and it nearly helped them steal that ball game. So I miss everything that analytics has taken away in all sports, frankly, but mostly baseball.
All right, I'm gonna go quick because we're running out of time here. But my number 1 is real player feuds. Like back in the day, I feel like players actually hated each other. Now everybody's kind of friends. You cross circles. You talk
First
on the
thing
phone,
Juan Soto
text.
did when he got to town was go over to the Padre dugout to say hi to everybody.
He also left a note for Fernando in right field.
Yeah.
So
everybody's cool.
Everybody's cool, which is fine. I don't mind, but I love it when two guys, when the pitcher hates the batter, or something like that.
Good.
You know who does a better job than WNBA? They're on that right now.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Yeah, they're on that
friendly.
They do have real player feuds. You're right.
This is definitely number 1 for me. I miss watching a baseball game without that box.
Without the strike box.
Okay.
Oh
yes.
man.
Yes.
I've almost stopped noticing it now, which is hard to believe.
I like it. I liked it so much better because there were so fewer umpires that we have now. We got like a billion umpires now.
A billion umpires now.
We do. We literally have
they know the game.
a billion umpires. So I miss not being able to watch the baseball game and just being able to be like, man, that pitch is way off. Like, and you just knew it. You didn't need the box there. You just knew it.
Yeah, I like it, Tony. Mine has to do with umpiring as well. My number one thing I miss about all of sports is a great dust-up between a baseball manager and an umpire. It really doesn't exist that much anymore because everything's on replay review.
Yep.
And, I mean, I can tell you, Tony, had they changed that call in the Angel game the other night from safe to out the way they did in the ninth inning, back in the day, Mike Schilt and that first base umpire would have had one of the classic arguments of all time.
You know what's cold about that? Had they not come back and said confirmed and they said something like upheld, I think Mike Schilt would have definitely have lost his mind.
I used to love when a baseball manager lost their mind, a la Scraby's favorite Earl Weaver.
Oh, yes. I'll give Mike Schilt this. He does lose his mind.
Yes, they still argue, but you don't have the classics anymore.
The cold part is he might be the biggest character we have in managers now.
Yeah.
I can't think of one that
David
will
Bell.
set it off like
David
Mike
Bell
will.
loses his mind.
Oh, yeah, David Bell. No, I take that
He
back.
got kicked
David
out
Bell,
in like the middle of an inning when they
David
were
Bell's
in town.
a psychopath, for real.
Okay.
All right, Chris versus the fans, 833-288-0973 coming up.
The Stanley Cup Final.
Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Here we go at 4 o'clock. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Hope you enjoyed our countdown this week. Stuff from the world of sports we miss. There's a story on ESPN right now that we might soon be missing, Scraby, the chain gang in the National Football League. You know, the guys who stand on the sidelines and hold the poles to signify whether it's a first down.
You mean
Pretty
the
soon
cute
they're
old men that run around the field?
The cute old men. Be careful who you call old.
Well, these guys are definitely old.
But you're right. I think I think you have to at least be 75 to even qualify to be a member of the chain gang.
Yeah, this is true.
Has anybody ever seen a young chain gang guy?
No.
I never have either.
We've gotten more injuries on chain gang guys over the years.
Don't ever recall seeing a young, spry chain gang guy. I also don't ever recall seeing a chain gang gal.
That is hilarious.
Have you ever seen a chain gang gal? I mean, you're starting to get some.
One, but I wouldn't doubt if they had
starting to get some women officials in the National Football
League. There's a lot of women
quite
officials.
a few of them. So why not a chain gang woman? But whoever she is, she better hurry up if she wants to be on the chain gang, because they're talking about the whole chain gang going away.
What are
the NFL is going to be testing new technology that signals a first down. By placing something in the ball, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's what's going to happen,
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like it's going to finally happen. They've got that technology to determine whether the ball is over the line or not. So what do you need the chain gang for? I mean, I love the chain gang. Come on. Gotta have them.
It is really strange that in 2024, we're so much on the line, we're using two sticks with a little chain in between, but I still love it.
It is. That is something that has never improved, right? They had that same chain gang in 1958.
Yes.
And here we are 70 years later, still got it.
There's like the old guy who runs out to the middle. He's like,
oh, yeah. The referee. Well, and then the players have to jump over the chain so they don't get tripped up. It's very, anyway, it'll be kind of a bygone product, it looks like, of the National Football League.
That's very sad.
I know. I'm saddened as well. Very saddened by that. Chris Ello here, Tony Gwynn Jr. at Petco Park. He'll be back with us for the Big Five. Coming up soon, Scraby is here. He's ready to host today's
hold on, I'm sorry.
edition of Chris versus the Fans. But before we get to that,
I have to throw this in before we move on from the chain gang. But what are we going to do about the drama of a measurement during a game?
There won't be one.
There is so much drama in a measurement. Watching them run on the field and then extend the thing.
I know. I love it. Wow. Gene's territory with the credit card. Remember that?
Yeah, no,
slip the credit card between the ball
and
and
a 3x5 card.
Whatever, index card.
Yes, an index.
It wasn't
card.
a credit card. It wasn't his Diners Club card. No, it was a credit card.
Gene's territory has a Diners Club card. Sure.
Anyway, yeah. Right. No, I'm serious. The chain gang may be going away. So get your if you like I said, if you're a woman who wants to be like the first ever woman chain gang member,
you need to get on it now.
You better get on that quickly. All right, now we'll go to today's round of Chris versus the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy, he's dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
This hour, 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by San Diego County Fair. Share your memories from the 50s to the 90s. Let's go retro, the photo contest at the San Diego County Fair. Your winning photo could win Best of Show and a VIP fair access package, plus a $500 Visa or Diner Club gift card. Entry deadline is June 9th. Learn more at sdfair.com. I believe the fair gets underway next Wednesday. All right, coming up right now, your opportunity to win a pair of tickets to see the Kings of Late Night at the San Diego County Fair on June 21st. That show features Jay Leno, Craig Ferguson, and Arsenio Hall. Funny guys. Tickets are on sale now at sdfair.com. Or you can win a pair by beating me in Chris versus the Fans. I think there's one phone line available right now for all of those who you say, I never can get through.
Full.
Oh. By the time I said that, it's too late. But anyway, yeah, once one contestant goes, fill that line, get your opportunity. Scraby, tell them what they got to do when they get on the air.
You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. And if you're a first-time player, let us know. Before the first question, you get that one for free today. All right, let's start with Noah. Hello, Noah.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I can. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, just driving home from work.
Take your time, Noah. Relax.
You're on the parking lot out there somewhere?
Yeah, we'll get you there.
Yep.
We'll get you there.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What Mets pitcher was nicknamed Thor?
That was Syndergaard.
Syndergaard is correct.
I would expect that Noah would know that.
Why?
Yeah.
Syndergaard's name was Noah.
Oh, duh. I didn't even put it together. I'm a little slow over here.
Yes, you are. That's why I'm here to point out such things.
Thank you. All right, we have one of those questions that's going to give you names, and then you tell me what team they all played on together.
Oh, crap.
Tyler Wade, Starlin Castro, Todd Frazier. What team did they play for?
Tyler Wade?
Starlin Castro, Todd Frazier.
Did the Yankees?
Yankees, he says.
Wow.
Got it.
Nice job.
Yes.
Tyler Wade was a Yankee. I knew that. I did not know that.
That was the only reason why I got it.
That's why I put it in there.
Did not know that Starlin Castro made his way to the Yankees.
Fun fact, Chris. I saw Starlin Castro in Cincinnati on his Major League debut hit a home run.
All right.
So
that's
there you go.
A fun fact.
Well, Starlin Castro, according to the Midwest people, was going to be the next great player of all time. So
okay.
All right, Noah, let's go on
Noah's
to
on to the
question number
finale
3.
here.
Yes. All right. What manager preceded Mike Schill as St. Louis Cardinals manager? What manager preceded Mike Schill as St. Louis Cardinals manager?
Very interesting.
Man, I don't think I know this one.
All right,
I don't even have a guess.
Okay, good. Because then you don't give Chris hints.
Yeah, I think I know this one, though.
You do?
Yeah, I remember this guy. I think. Mike Matheny.
Mike Matheny is correct.
Sorry, Noah.
That was a good game right there.
Yeah, good run, though, Noah. Enjoy your ride home. Take it easy. We'll get you there.
Yes.
We'll get you
Mike
there.
Matheny, yes, was the manager.
Yeah, Mike Matheny was a pretty good little manager, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
Back in the day.
what happened,
he was
but-
there for quite a while.
Yeah, he was.
Won 2 or 3 division titles. I think he got to a World Series, if I'm not mistaken.
Mike Matheny.
Good
It
old
was
Mike
the year
Matheny.
after. I think it was the year after the Giants won in 2010.
He came in and replaced LaRussa. After
there you go.
LaRussa started going full-time to the buffet at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, my God. What?
It's all I remember is when we were at the Hall of Fame and I walked into that one room and there was this huge buffet.
Oh, my gosh, I forgot.
Yeah, and LaRussa was in there just piling it on the plate.
And the people were like, "Hey, this isn't ready yet." They
Right.
still had the plastic
That's
on top
right.
of it.
They just kind of had the food out. And LaRussa was
Oh
like,
my
I ain't waiting
gosh.
around.
I totally forgot about that. Chris and I are just standing there like,
And
what
he is
happening?
just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm having a whole heap of
and
it.
he would remove the plastic wrap,
Oh, my
scoop
God.
it, and these
LaRussa.
people were like, "What is this guy doing?"
It was LaRussa, man.
That is hilarious. That is an unlocked memory I just had right now. It's a
Yeah.
good one.
All right.
All right, let's go to Alex next.
Good
Alex,
try
you're
there by
up.
Noah. Let's see what Alex comes up with.
Hello, sir.
Hey, happy Friday.
Hey,
Happy
good to have you with us,
Friday.
Alex. Happy
Here we
Friday
go.
to you.
Question number 1. What Pirates pitcher threw the fastest pitch of the season yesterday?
Oh, tough one.
Sorry?
Oh, I think he said Skeens.
Oh, Skeens.
Paul Skeens. You tricked him, man. You tricked
How
him.
did I trick him? We just
Because
talked
nobody
about
knows that Aroldis Chapman's on the Pirates anymore.
it. We just talked about it.
Didn't we talk about it?
I'm
Did
not
we talk
mad at
about it on
Alex.
the air?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we
'Cause
talked
Tony,
about that
remember
off the
Tony
air.
brought it up that they put up his video?
Yeah. Aroldis
Sorry,
Chapman
Alex.
still throwing the fastest pitch in baseball all these years later.
Yeah,
Sorry, Alex.
104 yesterday. Just ridiculous.
Skeens is up, 102 or 3, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he could hit 104 if he wanted to.
I remember when like a single 100-mile-per-hour pitch
was like amazing.
Stopped the presses. You know what I mean? Now it's kind of every team has one or two guys that do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
All right, let's go to our next contestant.
I love when Don Orsillo, by the way, says, here's the pitch by Suarez, a hundo.
He says
I love
that?
when he calls it a hundo. When he gets to 100,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I love
have to
that.
listen for
Love
that.
when Orsillo says a hundo.
Hundo.
Mark Grant also uses that term.
All right, Mark Grant was on Awful Announcing's Twitter last night for his reaction to the end of the game last night.
What was his reaction? I didn't see. I was at the game.
Let's pull it up. And
Do you have it?
It's on the Twitter.
Really?
Yes.
He wasn't pleased. Nobody could have been pleased, though. I mean, it was a pretty bad call by the home plate ump. And I'm like, I don't want the robo-umps. I get, a close pitch. You got to be swinging. But to take the game out of Cronenworth's hands like that was a really, really bad miss by that ump last night.
It was. Hold on, I'm gonna find it.
You got Mark Grant's reaction to it?
I'm gonna find it. Here it is.
right.
Padres announcer, brutal, horrible.
Oh.
All right, here's the clip from.
Let's hear Mudcat.
Padres TV.
Strike 3 call. And that ends the ball game, and that was not close to being a strike.
Brutal. Horrible. Took the bat right out of the kid's hands. Wasn't even close.
Oh boy, Mudcat. You tell him.
Like Schilt out there arguing that.
He goes on some more.
Is over.
Yeah, Mike Schilt got thrown out of the game for doing that after the game was over.
I guess he goes on to say something else, but yeah. So
Mudcat, I think you're on point. I mean, we don't want to be too bad at homers, and none of us do. But I mean, when you miss a call that bad at that juncture, the final strike of the game, I can totally get Mudcat's reaction. I had a similar reaction, and did I tweet that out a couple of weeks ago? I think I did. Mudcat Grant, his impression of 1990s era baseball home plate umpires and the way they signal strike
you didn't
calls.
tweet it. You told me before.
I got to tweet it again. It is the funniest video I've ever seen. I love that video, Mudcat, if you're out there. He imitates all these old umpires, and he is spot on, like right on it. I'll get it and tweet it out to people so they can see it. At Chris LOSD, if you're looking for it.
We're gonna. That was poorly timed by me, but it was funny, so we're gonna go with it because we're running out of time.
Oh, we have another. We're in the middle of our game.
Yes. Let's go to Rudy.
Forgot about that.
Hello, Rudy.
What's up, Rudy?
Hi guys. I hope it's an easy one. I've been out of town for 10 days, so.
Oh well, that means we'll make them harder, I believe.
Yeah. Here we go, Rudy. Question number 1.
No.
What is Charlie Sheen's character's nickname in the movie Major League? Or I'm sorry, not nickname, his name.
I think that's an easy one.
I never saw the movie.
Oh no!
No, too bad for you.
All right,
Rudy.
I'll even give it to you like this. Do you have? Do you know
You're
the?
giving him
nickname?
another one?
Do you know the nickname?
No, I really don't. I never saw the movie.
He doesn't know anything about it. Rudy, too bad.
Too bad.
Well, it is. It's just one of those questions that he's not aware of. I think Wild Thing is what we're looking for.
Well, no. What's his name?
Oh,
his given name.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I just remember him being Wild Thing.
His given name?
Charlie Sheen.
No.
Oh, Rudy, you're still alive.
Wow, that's incredible, I gotta say. Ricky Vaughn.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Vaughn.
I just remember Wild Thing.
Okay.
So that's good for you. That's good for you.
Yeah. Rudy.
All
right, Rudy, you're still there somehow, some way. But
Yeah,
here it is.
still in the
Question number 2. What San Francisco Giant was nicknamed Kung Fu Panda? I don't know if Rudy's...
Emilio Hernandez.
I'm sorry?
I don't know.
Okay, he doesn't.
Too bad. Okay, this one I know.
Yeah.
Pablo Sandoval.
All right, tiebreaker. Who's our guy today, Chris?
Blue Moon Odom.
Excuse me?
That's right. Former pitcher for the Oakland A's, had one of the great nicknames of all time, John, but he went by Blue Moon Odom.
Okay.
Odom.
All right.
Look up Blue Moon, and you'll find him.
John Blue Moon.
Don't look up the John. I think that'll throw you off. I think he's only under Blue Moon.
Oh, in Baseball Reference, he is Blue Moon.
I know. That's who he is, Blue Moon Odom.
All right,
he's
he
our
played
guy
13
today.
years, too.
13 years in the
It
big
says,
leagues,
yes.
mostly with the A's, if I
All right,
recall.
we'll go to our first contestant for the tiebreaker. Let's go to Miguel. Miguel, are you there?
Hello, Miguel.
Oh.
Hello? Hello, Miguel, are you there?
There he is.
I'm here.
All right. I'm gonna ask Chris a question, and you're gonna guess whether or not his answer is actually higher or lower than what the actual answer is. I didn't explain that well, but I don't care.
Well, he'll get it.
All right, Chris. Let's go with how many strikeouts did he have in his career?
In how many years? 13?
13.
He had 100 per year, 1,300 strikeouts for Blue Moon Odom.
1,300 strikeouts. Miguel, is the actual answer higher or lower?
That's got to be lower. Let's go lower.
Lower, he says. Thank you!
Yay, Miguel, a win right
Saved
out of the
me.
gate. That a boy.
All right.
Good job. How many strikeouts did he
A
have?
lot less than you think. 857.
Oh, come on, Blue Moon. Get with it.
Get with it. I guess he only pitched one inning in 1965.
Oh, well, that was part of the problem. All right, very good for you, Miguel. Stay
Yeah,
on the
stay there.
line.
Stay there.
You are today's winner of Chris versus the Fans. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, I got something on the Padres that you are flat out not going to even believe is possible at this point. I'll explain after traffic. Stick around.
From the
Marcella. Tony Gwynn Jr. at Petco Park. He and Jesse have the call tonight. Padres try to get things turned around. Taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Michael King on the hill for the Friars. 5:30, Sam Levitt, Eco Water SoCal Padre pregame show. God, I got to tell you, Scraby, last night I sat up in the press box. I'm not name dropping.
Yes, you are.
But I got to sit with Sammy Levitt for like 5 innings.
Whoa.
I got to tell you, it was hilarious sitting with this guy. He is so funny.
Can you tell everyone how busy he is during the game? He's got highlighters going everywhere. He's got 3 computers in front of him.
Yeah, he's it's really, it's taken pre and post game show to a whole new level.
It has.
Sam Levitt.
Yeah, it really
But
has.
sitting with him watching a ball game, and I just it was a kick. I must tell you, it was a real kick.
Well,
and I will tell you
always...
that, and I'm going to tell you about Sam Levitt, something you did not know.
I think I know where you're going.
No, you don't.
Okay.
He is Mr. Negative. He always thinks the worst thing's going to happen to the Padres.
Well, I think that's everybody.
I know.
There.
I think that's everybody right now, the way
Everybody.
they're playing. But, yeah, I was like, Sam, cheer it up. Come on. We're going to come back and win this game. He's like, I don't know.
Sam has to
I don't
actually
think so.
be at every single
I
game
know.
and
He's
see
there.
all this
He's
happen.
seen it all. But anyway, that was a lot of fun last night, hanging out with Sammy.
I was going to bring up the fact that it seems like every time you go to a game, Sam ducks you.
He normally does, but last night he was in the press box and he did not run the other way when he saw me.
That's
so
good.
That's a step in the right direction. All right, here's the thing about the Padres that you're not going to believe. It's pretty simple, actually, but you are going to find it hard to believe. If the playoffs were to start today, the Padres would still be in it. Right? How about that?
What position are they?
They'd be the last wild card, but they are in. Right now, the Padres are 2 games under 500, 32 and 34. We know they've lost 5 in a row. We know the sky is falling. But they are still in the playoffs right now. They are currently a half game ahead of the Reds, Diamondbacks, Giants, and Cardinals. They're a half game ahead of all of them, and they're 1 game ahead of the Pirates. So the good news is they'd be in. The bad news is they're 1 or so games away from falling into 11th place in the National League.
I hope Mike Schultz tells them this before the game because I think they need to know something like that. I think that's motivation. I'm being serious.
You guys win tonight or you could be 11th. Let's go.
I was listening to the Mike Schultz interview earlier with Bennett Woods, and he's a positive guy, and I'm not going to take that away from him at all. I'm a positive person too, kind of, sort of. Like in certain things, I'm positive. I'm a positive person when it doesn't affect me personally. If it affects me personally, I'm a very negative person. But I think at some points being overly positive as a positive person, Chris, can be a detriment because you're not opening your eyes to some of the issues that may be going on. And
the only thing I'm going to say in defense of Mike Schultz, and I don't know for sure because I'm not in the locker room, but the message he gives to you, the message he gives to the media, might be entirely different than the one he gives to his team.
He alluded to that today.
So, he likes to keep things, you're right, sunny side of the street.
Which is
But
fine.
that's to the media and to the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe to the players, he gets in there and says, you guys suck. He might.
He may.
We don't
never
know.
because he did say that he says things behind closed doors that he would never say to us, and
I think that's probably true.
And but I have I don't know why I want to hear Mike Schultz say the team stinks, but I do.
I know you do.
I don't know why.
You've been
I
after
want
this
to.
for a while.
And it's not going to happen.
Here's what I wonder. What if Mike Schultz were suddenly transformed into being the manager of the Chicago White Sox?
Oh, you want to talk about a terrible
Could he
place.
find a sunny side of the street there? Did you know? I didn't know this till this morning because I really don't keep an eye on the White Sox. They have lost an all-time franchise record.
Mm-hmm.
And the White Sox have been playing baseball since before 1900.
Yeah.
They have lost an all-time record 14 in a row. Yikes.
I think they lost 14-2 yesterday in that 14 in a row.
And their 14th loss in a row.
Did you see what?
And they started the season 0-9. You remember?
I
they
know.
got It was the Marlins actually who were really bad at the beginning, but so were the White Sox.
It was the battle for them.
The White Sox started the season. Let me see, 2-15. They started the season 3-22. And yet now with a 14-game losing streak, they've managed to even top all of that bad play.
Did you see Ozzie Guillen the other day? This was floating around. Maybe we'll have to pull it up for later. But he was like, I'm a White Sox fan. Like, I'm not just paid to be here. I'm paraphrasing. I'm putting myself through torture being a fan of this team right now.
Right now they've lost 14 in a row, 18 of their last 19 games. Tonight, Garrett Crochet pitches for the White Sox.
Is he in my lineup?
Against the Red Sox.
Is he in my lineup?
Well, you better hurry up and get him in there because, God forbid,
oh, he's in.
He might pick up a win for heaven's sakes.
Oh, I got 3 pitchers. I got Michael King, Justin Steele, and Garrett Crochet.
Big night for you in the fantasy world. Big night for us. Next with the Big Five.
Gwynn and Chris.
This hour, 97.3 The Fan, brought to you by San Diego County Fair. Share your moments from the 50s all the way to the 90s. Let's Go Retro photo contest. It's at the San Diego County Fair. Your winning photo could win Best of Show. That gets you a VIP Fair access package, plus a $500 Visa gift card. The entry deadline is June 9th. It's only a couple days away. If you want to know more about it, sdfair.com. Let's go, Scrape.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's get right into it. And we do have a bright spot from the last couple of days that we need to point out. Right. Why didn't it turn off? There it goes.
Number 5.
Fernando Tatis Jr., last night, it ended during the game, but he had at one point 8 straight hits combined from his last game Wednesday and then into last night. So, Chris, you're up first on this one. 8 straight hits, ties the Padres record. How impressive is that to you in today's game?
It's very impressive. It's much tougher to do nowadays than it used to be because he probably got those 8 straight hits against 5 or 6 different pitchers. You go back to his 4-for-4 game in Anaheim, and then he had a hit in his last at-bat in the previous game, and then 3 for 3 last night. 8 in a row is really good. Now, it's also a bit arbitrary when you consider the fact that one of the Padre record holders is Tony's dad, which leads you to believe that it's really difficult to do. But one of the other record holders for the Padres is Kevin Kuzminoff, which leads you to believe that maybe there's a little luck involved. The all-time record is 12, so he was closing in on that.
And who was that?
It was held. You're only asking me because I tweeted this out last night, and
I thought he made up names.
You were incredulous. The 2 names who hold that record are Walt Dropo and Pinky Higgins, the long-lost relative of Ben Higgins, I guess.
That's so...
But that happened a long, long time ago. So, I mean, it's held up in the record books for forever. I think it's a pretty impressive, record. 8's pretty good.
Tony, Fernando, 8 straight hits. How impressive is that to you?
First, I can't let you slander my former teammate Kuzminoff like that.
I'm sorry.
That was a left field.
I think we should use Ben's relative as the example and the other gentleman.
Yeah, Tropo?
Yeah,
Tropo. I think we should use those 2 as the example.
Okay.
No, 8 straight hits is tough. It's certainly tougher now, I would say, than it has been in the past. I think it was Kuzminoff did it twice. Brian Giles did it. My pops, and there was one other name I can't think of right now. They all have done it in a Padre uniform. So
yeah, it's good.
It's a pretty difficult feat to pull off. Plus, I think the other bonus is just further confirmation that Fernando is in the middle of going off, and we haven't even necessarily seen the homers yet to go with it, but. My man is collecting a lot of hits right now.
Man, it was all predicted a week ago by one Tony Gwynn Jr. Now we just need Tony Gwynn Jr. to look into his crystal ball and see the Padres as a team getting hot, and everything will be all right.
He said that's all I got, dog.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't have anything else. There's nothing in there, unfortunately. It's too bad.
Oh, that is really funny. But Tony, you did call it, so we're gonna pat you on the back as many times as we can.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Number 4.
Now, USA Today. I usually agree with the rankings that they have out there. They rank Petco Park as the best baseball park in America. Well, they rank the NFL head coaches, and no surprise, Andy Reid was number 1. Who do you think was number 2?
Who do I think was number 2?
Yeah,
I have absolutely no idea. It pains me. Well, I would pick.
I think this is a question because it's not his guy.
I know. It's not his guy. I think your guy deserves, consideration. And your guy being Shanahan.
Yes. Number 2, Chris. Who do you think it is?
I would pick Mike Tomlin.
Oh, it's a guy for Philly.
But I don't know who it actually is. So that
Nick
would be
Sirianni is your guess, Tony?
That's my guess.
Who'd they go with?
They went with Sean McVay, the Rams head coach.
Ah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Tony says, that's
Yeah,
not so
Tony
bad.
likes it. I
Chris
don't like
says,
it too much.
I don't necessarily like it. I can see it.
Yeah, he's got a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he
but-
does. He does.
You know.
Mike Tomlin, number 3. Kyle
Oh,
Shanahan.
Tomlin's 3,
Yeah,
so okay.
Kyle Shanahan, number 4. Matt LaFleur, number 5.
Nah, he's a little high. I
Yeah,
think I'd rate.
wow, that's real high.
Yeah.
Tony-
Did you look at the bottom of the list for fun?
I can pull it up. While
I love the
Tony's
bottom of
answering.
the list.
What is your question?
It's going to be, do you agree with that list?
No, not necessarily, but I could. Those 4, I'm cool in that spot, right? I'll give Andy the top spot, but I think you could make an argument that you can juggle those 4 as long as those are the 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I would put anybody else in that 4. I think there's an argument to be made that you can juggle around 2, 3, and 4, depending on who you like a little bit more. But I don't mind those first 4.
Chris?
Yeah, I think it's good. Like I said, I'd go Tomlin 2. I'd probably put your guy 3. I'd probably drop McVay down because he just annoys me. Just the look on his face annoys me. I don't know what it is.
He did almost quit on this team.
Does he have a punchable face?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
Oh,
and
yes.
just the fact that, him winning the Super Bowl confirmed to him what he already knew, and that
He
was
was
that
the
he's
greatest.
great. Yeah. So I'm never a fan of those guys, but, that's a pretty good list. Football coaches don't last all that long, You find somebody that's been in the game for 7-8 years. That's why Tomlin has to be up there, just because of his longevity and his consistent winning. But yeah, it's pretty good. The funny thing is I still talk about this with Andy Reid. If you go back 15 years when he was in the midst of losing all those championship games with the Eagles, there never was a coach who got more criticism than Andy Reid. And now he's the unquestioned best coach, in football. So it's kind of funny how the narrative changes.
Super Bowls do for you.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
The last ranked coach on their list, poor guy, Dennis Allen of the Saints.
Dennis Allen of the Saints is last.
Yeah.
Who joins him down there?
This is their little blurb. It starts with this. Dennis Allen is the head coaching version of sitting on a whoopee cushion.
Oh, my God. Wow.
That is heavy and harsh at
that's
the same
pretty
time.
harsh.
Matt Eberflus, number 31.
Yeah, he's going to be a contender until further notice for that.
All right, Kevin O'Connell, 13.
All right, good for Kevin.
That's not bad.
That's where he
Top half,
belongs.
top
He
half.
belongs in the top half.
Number 3.
The trial against the NFL has gotten started, everybody. If you didn't hear about this, the NFL is in an antitrust class action lawsuit against the NFL over the Sunday ticket package. Now, stick with me. This is a lot of legal stuff that I do not understand, but I read it like 100 times. During opening statements, attorney Amanda Bond showed jurors a 2020 term sheet from Fox in which the company asked the NFL to ensure that Sunday ticket would be priced above $293.96, which was the fee in 2020, during the 11-year term that began in 2023. So to sum it up, the free channels that are paying to air the games wanted to make sure that the Sunday ticket price was high enough that it would keep people from buying it and keep them on their stations.
Okay.
So to sum all that up, the NFL could be facing $21 billion in damages, $7 billion actually, and then the law, I guess, states that you
3 times as amount.
3 times. 21 billion.
Really?
Yeah. And in turn, the NFL Sunday ticket will be cheaper and even possibly do what the Padres did, and you subscribe to a team to watch them. So, Chris, is the NFL Sunday ticket a scam in your eyes? 'Cause that's what they're saying here.
Yeah, I know that's what they're saying here. I don't think it's not a scam in my eyes.
Right, because we like it.
We like it. We know it. I don't have it,
But doesn't it make you angry that it's more expensive than it needs to be?
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm kind of confused.
No, it's cheaper than it needs to be. The Fox people want it to be more expensive so that fewer people can buy it.
But they have to price it at that.
Well, I don't know about all of that. What I do know is that, anything that keeps the NFL games off of streaming for the rest of my life, I'm going to support. So that means I'm going to support Sunday Ticket. I'm going to support Fox. I'm going to support CBS and ESPN and everything that I can get to with my cable box. That's my own personal way of thinking. Now, as far as $21 billion is concerned, That would, that might actually make a dent in the NFL's stranglehold on the world. But I don't think a judgment will never be for that kind of money. That they might give them for $1 billion, which I don't think would be much of an effect.
Tony, what do you think? Is it?
Can you give that to me again? So, NFL is being sued.
So here's what the
By
evidence: the NFL's in a class action lawsuit by. I honestly,
consumers?
I guess the TV stations, the TV networks that carry the games for free.
I told you this was complicated.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure it out.
The TV networks that carry it for free
want to make sure that people can't just get DirecTV easily.
Yeah, and so they have to stay on their local
So they want
stations.
DirecTV to charge higher.
Yes, so that people are forced into watching on their local station to give them the ratings.
Because if everybody had DirecTV, nobody would watch games on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
so these stations or channels sued the NFL to make sure that DirecTV doesn't drop the price below a certain
I think
amount.
it may be consumers. I'm not sure.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
on behalf
not
of the
sure.
consumer.
Yes.
And so you're asking me.
I'm asking you, do you think that NFL Sunday Ticket is a scam in your eyes because it's being priced at a certain point so that it's so high, if you want to pay, you have to pay an exorbitant amount, and then if it's too low, you know what I'm saying? This is so confusing.
I don't know what you're saying, but
Here's the deal. So to answer your question, do I think it's a scam? I mean, it's probably a scam. Anytime you're anytime you're suing someone else to charge higher so that the consumer has to pay more, that seems.
No, I don't think it's the TV stations, because the TV this was evidence that was brought yesterday showing that there is bad faith negotiating amongst consumers.
Now you're just confusing the issue.
Whoever's suing is suing on the behalf of the consumers.
I think so. Yes,
right,
I'm
fair
trying
enough.
To look
Let's
it up
just
again.
believe that and move forward here, because it's way too confusing.
This is a tough one. I guess yes, it's a scam. I guess if you're suing someone to make sure the prices stay high,
yeah,
that seems I don't know, seems kind of a racket to me. I don't know.
Racket, I love
the one thing I like that you mentioned in there was the notion or possibility that maybe at some point the NFL will only charge you to watch the team you want to watch. That is something I would pay for.
The NBA does that.
Right, the NBA does that. I would love the NFL to do that, because I don't want to buy the direct ticket because I don't really want to watch the Saints-Falcons game. But
you should be. You honestly should be able to pick how many. Like, if I want to watch 3 teams, I should be able to pay for those 3 teams.
That there would be a great call. Then you're getting what you're paying for.
All right, here I found a paragraph from an article. Let me give them credit. Spectrum News, New York 1. In a class action lawsuit dating back to December 2015, the plaintiffs, representing millions of residential and commercial subscribers to the NFL Sunday Ticket package, then available, argued the league's 32 teams joined forces to agree to a multi-billion-dollar package that eliminated competition and drove up prices for football fans.
Ah, okay, that makes.
There we go. Wish I would have read that earlier.
But it also happened in, what did you say, 2015?
It's been going on since then,
Yeah, so it's 9 years old, which means the NFL will at least be able to drag this through the court for another 19 years.
That also means whoever brought this suit's got money to keep going for what now?
Yeah, that's a fair
9
point,
years.
Right?
Yeah, that is a lot of
I
money.
think it's a racket. I think at some point they think it's all a racket.
I love Tony's use of racket in this case. It's my favorite word you could be using.
It's either that or a fugazi.
It feels like it should be used.
It could be a fugazi.
All right, let's move on to another NFL topic.
Number 2.
And Josh Jacobs is now with the Packers. He's no longer with the Raiders, and he is headed to Brazil to open the season against the Eagles. And the NFL has told teams something kind of strange about their trip out there. So here is Josh Jacobs on Chris Long's podcast.
They said that the part of Brazil we going to, you can't even wear green at.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They said, like, I guess something to do with the gangs and stuff.
Oh, dude, I'm not going. I'm not going.
They said we're not going to Rio. We going to. They told us they was like, man, it's one of them places where they probably won't even let us leave.
A full team. Oh, damn, I'm not going, dude. No.
Eagles and Green Bay. Oh, green. That's
Wait, what color?
Green?
Yeah, what color green?
And they probably gonna have like armored vehicles following us. I said, bro, why are we out here?
It's not a bad call.
The most ironic thing of this all is that it's the Eagles and the Packers, two teams featuring a lot of green in their uniform. But, Tony, should the NFL be playing in a country where they are afraid of wearing green?
No. I mean, that's just plain and simple, right? Like, man, like, if that is actually true, right? I have no reason to believe Josh Jacobs went on this podcast and just made this up.
Mm-hmm.
It seems a little strange that you're going to a place that basically the team that wears one of the colors that you can't wear. That's all they wear. So they're wearing their white uniforms, I assume.
Both teams wear green. The Eagles wear green too.
That's right. Both teams do.
What are they going to wear?
I don't know.
Like, what is? I think the NFL has enough loot, as we just finished talking about, to find a place that at least the guys can go outside and, like, I don't know, maybe enjoy the country that they're gonna spend a weekend, I assume.
No, they're just gonna sit in their hotel rooms for a week
because
they're not
like
allowed
full
to go
lockdown.
outside. yeah,
It's
no, crazy.
That seems a little strange.
Chris?
Yeah, the NFL can play wherever they want. So why do they choose something with this kind of
Because there's a lot of
issue?
people there.
But there's a lot of people everywhere.
But they want to get those billions.
I know Rio's a large population, but I mean, really, if these guys are going to be in any danger, if they're going to have to drive around in armored trucks,
I don't know if that part was true.
That's crazy.
That is
He
crazy.
said that they said this is the type of place where you can't even wear green. I mean, that sounds pretty extreme.
That sounds really extreme. Yeah. They did have the Olympics there years ago, and nothing really too terrible. I don't.
But
think
he said
happened.
it's not in. He said it's the part of Vegas that you can't.
Or the part of Brazil, yeah.
Excuse me, Vegas, Brazil.
Vegas and Brazil could be similar at times. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this. They're both going to be wearing white and changing colors for one day. All right.
Number 1.
A new trend has hit the internet, and this is one that I can get behind. People are taking pictures of metallic objects and saying it's the new Tesla truck. For example,
I saw this.
For example, someone took a picture of an angled metallic trash can and said, quote, "Finally saw one of those new Tesla trucks," end quote. And this has been going on for a while. I've seen a ton of these. I've retweeted a ton of these, so you can go to @MattScraby if you want to see some of these. But Chris, what do you think about the Tesla truck? Well, hold on. This is what Chris
Give me
wanted.
a better. There you go.
There it is.
I mean, isn't that an accurate description of what they look like?
I don't know what the heck it is.
I mean, it
It
makes
looks like
me
a piece
think
of metal.
An armored. It makes me think of an armored tank, and I don't necessarily think that's the best look.
It makes you think of a tank.
It does.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you just put a gun on the top of it,
Okay,
pretty much,
all right.
and then direct, it would look identical. Yeah, they're not great looking to me. I'm surprised that people are, buying them. But
Me too.
that's just my own.
Tony, you have a Tesla, but you don't have a Tesla truck.
Not
What do you think
that.
about the Tesla truck?
I think it's the ugliest thing on this side of, I don't know, the Mississippi.
The Mississippi.
It is. It's not my thing. I see a bunch of people with them. Seen some wraps on them now.
Yeah, I've seen some wraps too, and they look better when they have
I
a
just
little bit
don't.
of color to them.
I don't think it's a good looking car. I think it's ugly. I would not want to roll around in a tank. But I also, I wasn't also like a big fan of Hummers either when they were popular.
But you know what? Maybe they can use the Tesla trucks to drive the Eagles and Packers around Brazil.
Oh, that's a good idea, Chris.
They'll be
you
safe.
need to be a part of the security team for them because
that might
would
work actually.
I did see a Tesla truck trying to climb a hill, and it got stuck, and then because it couldn't get up the hill, and then it rolled backwards on itself and just rolled on its roof because it's an angled truck. It just rolls and rolls and rolls, or I guess like slides is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Teslas. I know people who love them or have them love them.
Yeah,
a la Tony, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
overall.
All right,
give me some gas, please.
Give me some gas. That's
Yes.
Okay. You want a toot? Is that what you're saying?
Stop it.
I don't want to be compared to Dennis Allen. But I want some
Whoopee
gas.
cushion? Yes, that's true. All right, we are going to get you set for tonight's game with the Diamondbacks and the Padres next on 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And we head into the happy hour on the happiest day of the week. It's finally a Friday. It's Friar Friday. It's Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. Got a little while to go here before we turn it over to Sam Levitt and the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Padres and Diamondbacks tonight. Padres looking to snap a 5-game losing streak, longest of the season. Last time they lost 5 in a row, they won 7 of their next 9. Let's hope that history repeats.
That's true. That's a good point.
Let's hope that does happen starting tonight with Michael King going up against the young right-hander Brandon Pfaadt.
You know,
Pfaadt. That's a lot of wasted letters, I must tell you.
Oh my God.
You know, could have just spelled it. Could have just spelled his name F-O-T. Fought.
Fought.
Yeah,
or
much easier.
F-O-U-G-H-T.
Or that would have been simpler. But anyway,
I forgot what I was going to say.
I had it too. Anyway, Padres baseball tonight, and then on into the weekend. We'll see, as I said a little bit ago, the Padres come into tonight's game still remarkably clinging to the number 6 spot and final wild card in the National League. There are 4 teams, though, that are only a half game behind them. One of them is the Diamondbacks. So if the Padres lose tonight, that's it. They're no longer in possession of a wild card spot. Yeah, season's over. So anyway, lots of baseball to discuss. And Mike Schilt talking with the media before the game today. Manny Machado's not in the starting lineup tonight for a second consecutive game. Now, he did pinch hit in the 8th inning last night, very dramatically, too.
Wait until you hear what Kyle Higashioka said about it.
Yeah, Kyle Higashioka was
really
our Friar
funny.
Friday interview.
It's really funny.
We're going to have him on here in a little bit. But, yeah, Manny came, up the steps and, the spotlight came on. And,
like the heavens opened up.
I'm not kidding you. That's exactly what it felt like. The ground ball back to the mound, though, was not what he had in mind.
I actually felt like he was going to come through.
You kind of did. You kind of had a feeling. But, how healthy is he really? Mike Schilt with the latest right here.
Got out of that. He's done, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like you want to test it and see how it feels, but how hard do you test it because you don't want to aggravate it. And yesterday wasn't really a sprint, so it was, but he's doing some stuff in the pool and he's doing some testing that people far smarter than I in our medical department are helping him with. So they have a good understanding of what it's going to take for his strength to come back. Yes. Yeah, he's taking some swings. Now, the volume's not high, but yeah, he's taking some swings.
With those limitations, so why would you? Is there still consideration of putting in the IL, or do you think that you're past that?
I don't think we're past it. I think it's still a day-to-day situation. I think we're going to look up and, I don't know what that sweet spot is. It's a 10-day IL. There's a art to like when do you backdate it, and then there's like a figuring out a place when there's like, okay, we think he's going to be back in 2 or 3 days, and that's where we got to trust the player and the medical staff.
You mentioned Manny wanted being there for his teammates. Do you think that him yesterday, any part of that was like a sense of urgency that he might be feeling with the sort of the struggles that the team has had over the stretch?
That's a question for him. I think it's just I think he does that regardless of situation. I think he's a guy that wants to compete. I mean, his club's hadn't won as many games lately, so I think he wants to go up, and that's what high achievers do, right? They want to. If we're up by 10 games, we're lost a couple in a row, we want to go out and figure out how we're going to compete. And I think last night he did exactly that.
All right, so that's the latest on Manny Machado. We'll see. He's not in the lineup tonight. I didn't really even notice it because I was, in a depression at the time after he had grounded to the pitcher. But he did have to run to first base, right?
Did he run?
Yeah. He ran. Of course he did. Yeah. I mean, he got thrown out by quite a bit, but that's not because he wasn't running. I mean,
well, I figured
he was running. So, I mean, he can run. He can obviously swing a bat. But how well can he do these things is what, is going to have. It's all going to come down to.
The Manny haters have absolutely loved this whole thing that happened.
Really?
Because he actually ran out a play, and look what happened. He got injured. That's what the haters are saying. So he's a $30 million.
So he should go back to not running things out? Because they hated that, too.
I know. There's no winning. There's no winning.
That's what makes you a hater.
Get off the internet. I'm going to get off the internet this
You are not.
This weekend.
You never
I
will.
really do, because I have been bothered by the internet this week.
You better look on the internet. You better use the internet this week, because next week you're not going to be able to pick up your arm to hold your phone.
I have my left arm. I know. I have the worst part about the surgery is that it's my right arm.
Are you a right-handed
person? Yes.
scroller? Phone scroller? Normally scroll with the right
I'm an
hand?
equal opportunity
Equal
hand.
scrolling?
Yes.
Now that I think about it, I never thought of this before. I'm left-handed.
Yes.
But I've never scrolled with my left hand or thumb. I scroll only right-handed. So, for what that's worth.
When you scroll on your phone, do you usually put your pinky underneath your phone to hold it?
Like that. So I guess my pinky is under the phone.
Did you know that the majority of
Pinky is
people
under the phone and then use the thumb like that?
Yeah, the majority of people don't realize it, but they have made their pinky their holding pinky for the phone so that they can keep it up. Like cell phones are developing new injuries because
people are getting pinky injuries because they're doing this?
I've read this because someone tweeted one time, look at your hand on your phone right now.
Yeah,
and
I
if
see
your
it.
hand, it's just crazy that we all kind of default to that. Anyway, way off topic.
I don't know. Does Pinky Higgins do that?
Pinky Higgins didn't even know what a cell phone
Pinky
was.
Higgins has got way too many mentions on the show today.
Did you? What was the Cardinal guy you were showing me with the suit on?
He was some guy in their war leaders.
There were actually guys that used to play baseball with a tie on.
They did back in the 1800s.
So funny.
We've come a long way.
Yes.
All right, I got something for you, and then we're going to get to our Kyle Higashioka interview. But here's my question. Who is going to be handling the kickoffs this year for the Kansas City Chiefs?
No one?
No, somebody's got to kick off.
I thought I'm confused. I got to see this kickoff a couple times to get used to it.
Well, that's the whole reason I asked. Because the normal answer would be Harrison Butker. But
I thought you meant returning. Okay.
No, I said who's going to be kicking off. The normal answer would be Harrison Butker, and the answer is not actually correct.
You're right. I've seen this.
The Kansas City Chiefs are the first team, maybe not the last, that are considering using a safety or a strong safety or even a linebacker to kick off.
It's crazy.
Not use a kicker. And you're saying, why would they do that? Well, apparently, the NFL's new kickoff rule is changing the way teams are thinking about deploying their personnel on kickoffs. Now, Scraby, I don't even know how to best describe what kickoffs are. This is actually happening this year, or are they just trying it?
I think they're doing it this year.
I think they're actually doing it also.
Yeah.
Where the kickoff team and the receiving team now all will line up 10 yards apart from each other.
Yeah.
And this is designed to, a kickoff is going to look unlike anything you've ever seen before unless you're very familiar with the XFL, which I'm not. So to me, this is going to be so different.
It is.
But what they're noticing, according to the tape, and according to the film of XFL kickoffs, they're all noticing that XFL kickers have been involved in about 25% of the tackles now. So the Chiefs don't want Harrison Butker involved in tackles.
This is
so
football.
They may use somebody else to kick off.
This is football.
You want Harrison Butker to go out there and try and tackle these guys?
I want all kickers to do their job and kick.
Well, here's your guy, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens.
He's not my guy.
Well, he will be after this. Justin Tucker noting that XFL kickers have been involved in so many tackles, said today that he's been bulking up, getting ready for the season.
Good for him. That's a real football player.
That's a real football player. He said, this might be surprising to a lot of you guys and a lot of my teammates because I don't hang out in the weight room frequently. He said, but now I got to get some shrugs, get the traps going just a little bit, just to make sure I'm prepared for a little more contact. Anyway, it's interesting.
It is interesting.
I hadn't thought of it. The Chiefs thought of it first. They're the ones that said we may not use Harrison Butker on kickoffs. We may be using a strong safety because they want somebody there as a really good tackler.
Someone just put this on the chat, but I didn't realize it. But Matt Ariza is a Kansas City Chief.
And Matt Ariza can tackle.
Yeah, and
we saw that here at San Diego State. So maybe he'll be the kickoff guy for the Chiefs.
God.
Yeah. So anyway, kickoffs are going to be totally different now than ever before. I'm trying to look at here for a description because I can't really describe how it's actually going to be.
If you just Google
XFL kickoff,
you'll
right.
find it.
Yeah, Google XFL kickoff. You'll see a picture of what kickoffs are going to look like. It's going to be very strange to you.
Yeah.
But apparently, this is what they've discovered now. The kickers are, because most kickers on a kickoff are the only way they're ever involved is if the guy breaks through everybody. And then the kicker's like the last guy trying to chase him down.
They're like the guy with the matador,
right?
hoping that someone else
gets
to him.
But now, with this new rule, apparently kickers are, much more involved in making a tackle.
Can I update something real quick that we did during the Big Five?
Yes, please.
It would be the Josh Jacobs story. So I was sent this story after the fact, and apparently the NFL is denying that they told Josh Jacobs and other players that you can't wear green. So,
in Brazil, where they're going for the football game.
The NFL is denying everything. I don't think that Josh Jacobs just made it up.
I think he did.
That would be the
I
craziest.
think it's real possible that Josh Jacobs just thought he heard that somewhere and is.
That's a pretty specific thing to hear.
It's pretty specific, or Pacific, But yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know. I know that the gang clothes and color wearing schemes is a real thing.
Yes, of course.
In different parts of the world, including our own parts of the world.
Everywhere in the world.
So yeah. But anyway, all right. So he had said that we can't wear green, which is why we discussed it in the Big Five. What are the Eagles and Packers going to wear? Because they both wear green.
Yeah.
But the NFL says it's not true.
I don't believe them.
All right. We got one final segment. Included in the final segment, not only our visit with Kyle Higashioka, but the end of an era. That's right. It's a sad, sad day, people. We'll explain it all after traffic when Gwynn and Chris returns to wrap things up.
From the
All right, a very famous era in entertainment comes to an end today. Tell you about that. But first, our Friday Friday interview with one Kyle Higashioka of the San Diego Padres. Shared some good stuff with us, including the how his team's doing.
Yeah, yes.
I couldn't figure out how to
he also
introduce that.
He also tells us how fun it was to see Manny.
Well, I don't think it was fun for him. He was the one pinch
true.
hit for.
That's true.
But, what happened last night when Manny made his dramatic appearance to pinch hit, and also life trying to catch Matt Waldron's knuckleball. It all comes up right now with Mr. Higashioka.
Where do we start here? Let's start where this team is right now. You guys lost 5 straight. I mean, what is the mindset for a ball club? You know, you've lost 5 straight, and they've been close games. They could have gone either way in each of the 5. They haven't gone our way, so to speak. So, I mean, how do you approach each day as you guys come in to get ready for the next game?
I mean, the encouraging thing is that we've been right in it for every one of those 5 games. It's not like we're getting blown out or we're playing like bad baseball per se. It's just it comes down to the little things, in those games. And so, every time that we have a chance to learn from one of those instances where we either don't come through in the big spot or we, give up a run we didn't want to. It's important that we just learn from those moments in the game and we improve upon it.
Kyle, you guys, you especially been through the ups and downs of a season so many times. The ups are good, the downs are a little tougher, but I think the fans, we go crazy, probably too crazy over wins and get too upset over losses. How do you guys couch things amongst yourselves in that locker room when you're scuffling a little like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially those of us with a good amount of seasons under our belt, it's kind of like you gotta temper those emotions a little bit because that it's a really long season, and a stretch like this where you lose 5 games in a row can easily be counteracted. When you go on a streak where you win 8 or 10 games in a row, so it's just about the entire body of work at the end of the year. So it's a fight for consistency and just being at your best every day.
Kyle Higashioka joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Kyle, you've been tasked with catching Matt Waldron every 5th day. And he's been on a little bit of a heater here as of late. In terms of what you're seeing from behind the plate, what has allowed him to have the type of success here in recent starts than maybe he was having a little bit earlier in the season?
I think he's just growing in confidence. He's new to the league, so it's like anybody who's it's their first year or two. There's going to be a little break-in period. You're going to see other teams adjusting to you, and so you need to find a way to make the readjustment back to them. And I think he's just growing in confidence in terms of attacking the zone and not letting little things get to him as much, hits and when those happen, he's done a lot better job of keeping a really solid mindset and approach and working through those tough innings. So I think that's been a really big key for his success.
Kyle Higashioka is with us. A couple of things on that, Kyle. First of all, we were, I don't know, we kind of surmised that one of the things that's helped Waldron a little bit is the fact that he's kind of just gone ahead and said, okay, I'm a knuckleballer. And he's kind of just, made peace with that. And it's kind of helped him be a little more successful. Number 2, part of that, how are you at peace with catching the knuckleball? And has it been at all difficult for you to kind of make that adjustment, catching that pitch?
Yeah, I mean, it's still really difficult to catch. But I will say I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. And, over the past several starts, I've just constantly been trying to tweak, stuff in my setup or my personal approach to catching it to try to help me, not let some of those go by. So I don't think it'll ever be easy, but I definitely have become a lot more comfortable. And so now, really, I'm actually really enjoying catching them. It's kind of a fun way to, like a cat and mouse game to play.
Yeah, and he's unique from the standpoint of, I know we're talking about him embracing the knuckleball, but he uses his other pitches in his repertoire. And I got to ask you, I grew up watching some knuckleballers in the league. Seemed like catchers always had a different glove for the knuckleballers. You've elected to stay with the same catching glove that every catcher has. Is that because Matt uses the rest of his pitches as much as he does, or is that just a comfort thing for you?
Partly because by the numbers, he throws more normal pitches than knuckleballs on average. But also, we didn't really have a glove broken in, so it's like we're working on it. So just in case I want to use it down the road, we're working on getting one broken in. But we didn't have a glove.
That's crazy. Kyle Higashioka's with us. Kyle, there's been a little. Well, first I want to ask you this. Just last night, you hit the home run. You almost hit two. I thought you had a second one. The drama in the 8th inning. Can you let us in on this? Were you told ahead of time that Manny might hit for you? Because the way that kind of came around to us watching the game, it was like a bit of a dramatic situation. You went out, and then all of a sudden, here came Manny.
Yeah. I felt like Kirk Gibson was walking down the tunnel, getting ready to hit a 3-run bomb. But no, I saw him walk in the dugout before I was on deck. I think like a few hitters before me, and so I had an idea that he might be good enough to pinch hit in that situation. And anytime you have Manny Machado on the bench, it's tough to not put him in that situation. So it didn't go our way, obviously, but a guy like Manny, you trust him in any situation.
Kyle Higashioka joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Kyle, we talked a little bit about the homer you hit yesterday. You had a little bit of a rut there, and you seemingly are starting to come out of it. What are some of the things you've been trying to focus on the offensive side to try to get yourself in this kind of range that you've been in the last couple games?
Just trying to simplify things at the plate a little bit. Trying to really hone in on swinging at better pitches, and also not trying to do too much. I know two of my last 3 hits have been homers, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm really just trying to make solid contact, and it's kind of funny how that happens, though.
Yeah. Kyle, real quick before we let you go, and you got work to do. You played in New York. Now you're playing in San Diego. You're from Southern California. There's been some controversy. You guys have brought up how much more difficult it is to play in New York, the media versus the media in San Diego. Where do you come down on this? I don't mean to ask you such a tricky question with only a minute or so left, but can you make a little bit of a comparison yet?
There's just more media attention in New York, I don't know if it's, I guess some people obviously do find it more difficult, but a lot of it's also, the way you handle the media. If you're going to be combative and defensive, if they ask tough questions, then it's going to be a tough go for you. But they're, at the end of the day, they're just kind of interpreting what they see on the field, and if you make a bad play, you got to answer for it. So that's all it is. But with all the media attention comes a great deal of positives too. The fans are great there. They love the team. So just like in San Diego, the fans they care. So that's what you want.
No doubt. Kyle, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us, man, and we'll let you get to work. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, awesome having Kyle Higashioka with us today, our Friar Friday interview. And Padres Diamondbacks coming up. Sam Levitt's Eco Water SoCal pregame shows shortly. All right, before we get to that, tonight is the final night, Scraby. After more than 40 years and 8,000 episodes, the legendary Pat Sajak says goodbye to Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. I play it on my phone all the time. I got a Wheel of Fortune game on my phone.
He is he's 77 years young.
Wow.
He started the gig when he was 34. A lot of people don't know this. I do, because I grew up in L.A. He was the weather guy at the CBS affiliate in Los Angeles.
Man, he's got two of the cushiest gigs of all time. Weather guy in L.A.
Right,
and then Wheel
where
of
all
Fortune
he had to do was
host.
say it'll be sunny tomorrow.
Exactly.
And he went from there to Wheel of Fortune host in 1981. That is unbelievable. Over 8,000 episodes. So good luck to Pat Sajak. I was a, and every now and again watcher of Wheel of Fortune. I'm more of a Jeopardy guy myself, Scrape, but
that's because you're too smart for us.
I'm too smart. But nobody could make a letter sound more interesting than Pat Sajak.
Or was Vanna White the one that made
No,
it
Vanna
interesting?
turned the letter, but Pat was the one that went N. There's nobody who could do it like him.
He did
L.
over enunciate all
Oh,
of his
yes,
letters.
he was so good at it. Give me a O.
O.
Would you like to buy a vowel? E.
Just
Pat
to make
Sajak,
sure.
man, he had it together.
You know,
that
I think
guy.
Vanna had it the hardest. I mean, she had to remember where everything was behind
No
the
kidding.
board.
Oh, Vanna. No kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, we're overdoing it now.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Padres, let's get back in the win column.
Oh, yes, please.
We'll be back on Monday to wrap it all up. Scraby's having a surgery Monday morning, so send him best wishes. He will certainly not be here Monday. He better not be here Tuesday.
Why?
Because you need to rest and recover.
I might be back Tuesday.
All right.
Not in studio.
Not in studio, but we'll have you as soon as possible. We wish you the best of luck there.
Thank you.
And wish all of you a good weekend. For Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby, Chris Ello. Sayonara.